Marcus is watching us. Hey, Facebook. We're just a couple of minutes late, trying to get everybody running home and trying to get situated. So we have a good show tonight, and we got the bros. We're waiting on our brother Reggie. Hopefully he's okay. We haven't heard from him today, but shout out to brother Reggie. He got something else going on right now.
Brother Reg.
Brother Reg, Brother Reg.
Brother Reg, what it do?
So we are going to dive in tonight. We plan on discussing post-election politics, what's going on down there in Florida, what's coming up in Georgia with the Senate runoffs, and Big Baby and the White House don't want to acknowledge that he lost. And
Well, he said he was going to do pull a Pistons 1991 on. I saw it come across the screen yesterday. I was like, wow.
Hey, Salaam, you from Chicago? Did we care when they did that?
Hell no, we handed in their ass. we went dancing in the street, the whole shot.
Bye. Just leave.
Memorial Day 91, we put them to bed.
I didn't know out of it, but I did write it down and say, look at these dudes walking off the court. Look at these. I'm like, look at these dudes walking off the court with their little feelings hurt. But yeah, Orange Man said he gonna walk out. And you know what? We wouldn't expect anything less. I mean, from him. Now, any other president, we would expect better. You know, but this is a tradition that they would. Obviously, they would concede, congratulate the president to be and all that. So they call it president elect. So yeah, we understand that part. But him, he's a different breed. I mean, I don't know. You know, somebody was telling me that, and his sister Tasha, she said, people think that a alpha is a good thing, an alpha male is a good thing, but she said that alpha males are narcissists and they have all these issues. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, you know what?
She has a good point. Because they coexist in the same.
Alpha male?
Huh?
Was she trying to suggest that that's what Trump qualifies as or characterizes as an alpha male?
His followers call him alpha, and they try to say, he's an alpha. Everybody else is betas.
I don't think he's an alpha, but she was spot on in her characteristic and vivid description of what an alpha male attribute is. She's accurate
in the general description of that.
But that don't apply to that motherfucker. No, he beta, homie.
Well, first things first, man. Hey, man, just officially just say, hey, what's up to all my brothers, man, around the table, man. Good to see y'all again, man, and break bread with you and talk a little bit about all this good stuff, man. How everybody been doing?
Doing all right, brothers.
We blessed.
Same
here.
Good,
absolutely.
Good, man.
And I also want to say, Sergeant Daly, unfortunately, he called me and he had to counsel on us tonight. He's called on duty calls. He's a first responder, so there's nothing he can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. We hate that it had to happen, but he was really looking forward to tonight's conversation. He had another officer that was going to come on with him, but he's committed to rescheduling and getting on with us. So we're still going to make that happen. We're still going to be able to have a conversation with a black officer who sees it from both sides. You know, yes, he definitely sees it, and I'm sure John can speak to this. A lot of black officers have their own union. I don't know if people even realize that.
So in some cities too. Now here in Chicago, we got the FOP. In turn, when you're talking about official representation, is still the FOP.
FOP, okay.
For POs, but that's a whole other.
That's a whole other conversation.
Man, that's a whole other thing, man. Because it's POs here, man, kind of going back and forth with. Their feelings about, because we got a dude here in Chicago, man, that's representing us. That's the president of the FOP, man, and he was is a hardcore Trump supporter, and that's rubbing a lot of the people of color on the force the wrong way, quite a few. So that's a whole other beast. I ain't gonna speak to it. That's their stuff. I'm gonna let them get off into that. But it's something, man. It's something. Like you said, the brother that was coming on is. There's an intersection of two things happening, man. Yeah, a police officer, but he's a black man too.
Yeah.
And folks need to acknowledge that intersection, that intersectionality that's happening right there. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, John,
course.
And I didn't get to pull it up. I was going to let him speak to it, but there was a black officer that was attacked or shot or something here in St. Louis. Now we know that's not the only place that happened.
Right.
And this brother had to go through high and hell water just to get some justice, and he's a cop. You know, that explains a whole lot. But so yeah, the brother is going to reschedule us. His with obviously other ranking officers being out with COVID. By the way, he said COVID is hitting him.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we can talk about. We finally going to get some people in federal government that's going to take COVID seriously and do something about it. Instead of just waiting on some magic, what do you call it? Some magic pill to show up one day and make it all go away. Great that they're working. What's this company? Corporation Pfizer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're working on an antidote or whatever you want to call it, but vaccine, yeah. But they're talking April at best.
Well, that's the thing. It's
projections
multiple companies around the world, man. That's working on it. Something in London happening that's supposed to be very promising. I mean, even one of our mutual buddies, man, here in Chicago, Adrian, was in the other chat with us, Salaam and Jay.
Yeah.
He over at UIC. He's been
UIC,
part of the team that's working on a vaccine there, and they're supposed to be, and I want to say they're in the efficacy stages, where they're really testing, how effective whatever the vaccine situation that they got. So, it's happening all over, man. We'll see. Obviously, we all are hoping and praying that something comes along to help kind of get this condition under control, because just letting it
raging, man.
Almost man. That was not the answer. That was not the answer at all.
Yeah, shout out to brother Adrian Ray. How you pronounce his last?
Ragoza, I think his name.
Ragoza, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's doing pretty well.
My
and
man.
He's been charged with doing studies on that where he works at. So that's pretty good. Maybe we can get him on sometime and have him.
Yeah, get him on. I'd love to hear from him too.
Yeah. I think he said, and he'll speak to it more specifically. I think he was one of the things that he was working with was kind of like minority community outreach too. Mm-hmm. So it would really be interesting to kind of pick his brain on, how they're, approaching that. What's the data showing in terms of what the outreach plan can be, how hard hit have been the Black and brown communities. You know what I mean? I think some of us, we know that when you're talking about that mortality rate, it's been hitting us, people that look like us, way harder than anybody else, man. So
absolutely.
Having a plan that uniquely, speaks to that is hugely important. These Black and brown communities, man, when you're talking about getting the vaccine, any kind of treatment out there.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out. Hey, thanks for joining us, Brother Charles, Brother Jeff. You guys, we'll definitely take some questions from you later on. Hey, Brother Antonio Gomez, good to see you.
Oh, it's a good brother. What's going on, Antonio?
Yeah, Antonio, we have conversations. Antonio, if I don't think he minds. He's got some Cuban descent, Black Cuban, and he's in a position where he gets it from the other community and he gets it from Black folks. And I'm like, brother, as far as you're concerned, you're Black, and I don't care. Mm-hmm. You see it, and two, he grew up here in St. Louis, so we got another connection as well. But that's another conversation we can have one day. Maybe we can get Latinos on here sometime and talk about that deal thing that they have to deal with there too. But yeah, so Georgia's got the runoff. So obviously they haven't officially got Joe Biden. But they're doing a recount now. But he's gonna win. I don't see how big his lead is. 10,000 votes or something. I don't.
Yeah. 14, but I think they called it, didn't they? I think Georgia.
They called it. I thought they called it earlier this morning.
Yeah, they called that either this morning or yesterday. So listen, man. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Even if he loses Georgia, he wins.
Yeah, this is all just staged, by Trump, stuff that people have been telegraphing for months that he was going to do.
Yeah,
he knew he wasn't going to be able to win it the Democratic way, so he's going to try to get out here in these courts and win it that way.
He's going to try to thug his way back to the White House.
Well, that's why he made the court appointments that he made.
Right.
And ain't none of that working, because people are saying that his cases are getting laughed out of court. That's actually not true. These judges are pissed off. from what I'm reading, because you got lawyers coming into there where they're publicly making claims, but then when judges are challenging these cats,
They got no
are
evidence.
you here to tell me that there's fraud? And these lawyers, knowing that their licenses and
On the
getting
line.
They get the
on the line,
Mhm.
having to tell the truth.
I didn't say that, Judge.
Right.
Right.
I ain't here to say, hold on now. I ain't say all that.
No, that's the other motherfucker he talking to.
Right, man. These cats ain't been to risk their practices and they licenses for this fool, man.
They start doing that tap dance jig.
Mhm.
You know what? And I don't know if you got some of these lawyers, these officers are jumping off the case.
Yeah.
2 or 3 of the firms that he's had representing him are jumping off the case because they recognizing what they're risking. It's not worth it.
Well, I agree with you, John. The I can see these judges are Republicans or high view. I don't know what the political affiliations of some of these judges are. I don't even know if the judges even put out their political affiliations. But all I know is, like you said, the judges are pissed off because they're like, "Hey, man, what evidence do you have?"
And that's the bottom line, man. The law is the law all day long. Whether you conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, the law is the law. You can't make claims in a courtroom,
right?
Without evidence. That's law 101 right there. I think. Ain't it?
And, yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Man, come on, these lawyers know that. So when they're coming in there, I wouldn't even want to be in that position as a lawyer. I'm not even a lawyer, and I know I don't want to go to court without any evidence. If just representing myself, if I had to, I wouldn't even come up in the court without evidence.
But usually during the discovery phase, I mean, they talking to the person who they potentially is going to hire them and say, okay, tell me what happened. Okay, now, okay, they just start fishing for information. Then the next thing you know, it's like, okay, where that briefcase at? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're taking the money and running, Salaam.
Yeah, that's all it is. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, don't lie to me, don't misrepresent nothing. Just give me the real.
But y'all know that old statement in the hood, man. All money ain't good money, man.
That's right.
And I think that's what a lot of these law firms are finding out, man. Is it really worth our reputation? Is it really worth positioning ourselves to be the firms that are tearing away at the democratic voting process? Is it worth losing other clients over because of this bad press? And come on, man. All money ain't good money, man.
It's not.
Dealing with that fool, come on.
No,
I don't know if he ever been worth it.
I know.
Not at all.
I can see me being a law firm, and especially if you're a prestigious law firm or if you're a law firm that's doing well, you're not hungry. You're not hard up for money. They coming to you with this crap.
Right, which is why they jumping off because they got other clientele that revenue was much bigger than this crap with Trump. Like, nah, bro, we'll get this money somewhere else. Don't even worry about it.
Man, no, we good. It's a money tree right up over there.
We good. We out here, good.
Make sure I got this right. You're not alleging fraud. You're just saying it just looks weird. Take that to court.
Right.
One of his attorneys actually tried to go back and forth with a federal judge, about the definition of textbook hearsay. Like, let me pull that up because they got the transcript, which is hilarious to me.
Go ahead.
Let me pull that up, man. It was hilarious.
Jump on in.
Come on, bro.
These guys, they rolling, Chris. You're just gonna have to jump in, brother.
Oh no. Well, while he's getting it together, I could say initially you asked us what I guess for our views about the election itself.
Yes, sir.
So I guess my first thought is I had a great sense of relief. I admit to being very stressed. Had a whole lot of anxiety, probably more anxiety than I've had in years.
Me too.
Couldn't watch any news Sunday. Definitely didn't watch none Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah,
I think it was all music that day.
Yep.
And so
self-care, brother.
Yeah. So I like it was really weighing heavy, and some people, people, our faith is operates differently. So some people were like, well, no matter what happens, God is still in control, and that's not really where my faith is because I believe that it's people who decide. That's why they go out and vote. Man is the one that puts us in a lot of these messes. Man is the one that's got to figure the shit out.
Right.
And anything beyond that, are miracles. You know what I'm saying? Now, miracles do happen. You know, things unexplained do happen. But outside of that, I'm not one to be like, we put ourselves in a fucked up situation and be like, well, God got us. God didn't do that. So God didn't make that bed. God ain't got to lay in it. You know what I'm saying?
God watching you. He's like, I'm waiting on you to figure it out, homie. I'm hoping you can put me up on game.
The next thing I thought is that got to give it up, you know, to black women. Joe Biden damn sure got to give it up to black women because they saved his ass in South Carolina.
Georgia.
I mean, they saved them all the way around. It's time the sisters started getting their props and their respect. You know, Stacey Abrams on down.
Man, Stacey Abrams out there like Ali, man. She said, okay, you cheated. What's the governor's name in Georgia? Kemp. He said, yeah.
Kemp.
He said, yeah. You was the Secretary of State running for governor, meaning you, and you would not recuse yourself as Secretary of State.
Right. So he's running the election. So
you can win governor. She's all right. I got you. I'm coming.
Yeah, conflict of interest 101.
Coming back. She brought what 150,000 more voters.
No, 800,000 black voters.
800. There, yeah. Thank you. Me out.
Yeah. So she needs her respect because you know more white women voted for Trump this time than they did last time.
Mm-hmm.
So
talk about that.
So obviously, race and patriarchy, you know, are still the biggest deal.
Yeah.
You know, in America. I've also heard people talk about, you know, bringing the nation together. You know, I don't think that's possible.
I don't need
because when you're dealing with people who
watch,
you know, militias. You know, you talking about militias, domestic terrorism, traitors. You know, calling disabled soldiers, you know, losers and suckers. I mean, if that don't win you over, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no, as far as people that look like us, they don't want that. You know what I'm saying? So it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, power hungry people don't care about that stuff.
Yeah, and especially, right. I'm really most disappointed. I'm really most disappointed, even to a new level, evangelicals, because this is a chance for them to get on with their business, and they still, you know what I mean? And speaking of which, I want y'all to know something. Y'all didn't know this, but I'm sure most of y'all seen the Paula White video when she was praying and speaking in tongues and stuff.
On the angels and all of that.
She was calling on the angels and, you know, doing her thing. Well, she didn't know that I was praying too at the same time. So she didn't know that. And there was actual footage. Recorded footage of me praying, and I wanted y'all to hear what that sounded like. So y'all heard what she said,
right?
So this is what mine sounded like. I just actual official footage, okay?
Hey, Chris.
She was speaking in tongues. I was too.
Chris, you know what's the funniest thing?
I just want y'all to know that's how we turned it all around. She was praying, but then my prayer was stronger than her prayer because you know the pig lad. They identified more with me in Africa than they did with Paula White. So
hey, Chris, you know what the funniest one was? The remix they did with the cat. You see that one?
You know, Chris brings up a couple of interesting points, but the one I want to talk about real quick is the whole evangelical thing, and this is a conversation that me and you have had, Jay.
Hot one, man. Conversation on Sunday, Salaam. Go ahead.
Listen,
go ahead. I'm listening.
At some point. And I just put myself out there. I'm gonna speak for me, being a man of faith and a believer and a Christian. At some point, we're gonna have to acknowledge the fact that there's different versions of Christianity that occur in this country.
No doubt.
Oh, I don't think that's.
When we talk about this quote unquote evangelical, and I ain't saying, you know, I ain't coming at what you're saying, Chris. I'm just saying you're bringing up a very interesting part of the perspective of the situation, you know what I mean? You know,
the Western
Western American version Americanized version of Christianity that the vast majority of these white evangelicals follow and adhere to.
It's trash. I'm calling for
that they use to support and justify a lot of the stuff that they do and that they claim that they're doing in the name of Christ, and all that ain't got nothing to do with Christ. At least not the Christ that I know in the book that I read as a Christian.
That's right.
That's what they've been using, John, to keep power. From back to slavery. That's what they've been using to keep power.
Right.
And and I guess I'm sorry. When I brought that up was because I started following different black evangelicals, their social media to see what they were saying, the videos they was putting out. And you talk about mad, butthurt, mad. It's like, and these are the same people like 6 months ago, a year ago, their whole thing was, well, God put them in there. You know what I'm saying? Because God is the one that promotes. He's the one that, you know what I mean? They use that scripture, But now they whining and bitching. You know what I'm saying? Now they sorry, like they hurt, like, you know what I mean? And so it's like, that's why it's like, I can't relate to these people. And these are some of the people that, I used to listen to their stuff. I used to buy their tapes and books and, and it's like a foreign language. It's like, I don't know these people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't wrap my brain around, I guess maybe it's just trying to be the head buck or what, but I don't, it's like, you see this hat, we the people, it's like, we believe that shit. Black folks, and that's why the election came the way it did in the presidential election. Like, we believe that shit more than they do. They don't really believe that shit. They use it as a punchline, for power, like you said, Jay, but when it comes to really instituting that shit from the beginning, from voting rights on down, from Reconstruction, we're all over the place, all over, political spaces, it's, they never believe this shit. But I cannot for the life of me, even now, I just can't wrap my brain around understanding black evangelicals who know, I can't, they gotta know better. And we'll get on here. Help me out, because
let me unpack some of this.
I don't get speechless too often, but
give me about 5 minutes to unpack some of this.
Go ahead.
Jump in here. So as a man as a Christian, I call myself, but I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. I've been studying this stuff and watching this stuff, and I've from the time I became a Christian in the late 80s to today, I've been watching all this, and I've been watching and so when we were talking about the history, going back to slavery, how white evangelicals, not all of them, but a lot of them were using the Bible, taking scriptures out of context to support that system, and to the power system, and they're still doing that today. You got John MacArthur out there, and we've had me and other brothers have had conversations about this. He's out there demonizing protesters and saying that they're disrespecting law enforcement, they're disrespecting the authorities, and they should just, fine and deal with whatever they're dealing with. So what are we dealing with now? We're dealing with, like John said, we're dealing with the Western American Christianity, which is total trash. We're teaching people not to care about the poor, not to care about social issues, not to care about people who are oppressed. That's not Jesus Christ.
It runs in direct contradiction of Christ.
Teaching power and riches and owning everything and dominating everybody and having someone voting for people who crush people and all that is insanity, man. And just the other day, what John was saying, I caught a video. These people had just found out that Trump had lost, and they broke down on stage in church service crying and asking the Lord to forgive them and to reverse what has just happened. And I'm sitting here like, I thought it was the will of God.
Yeah, they weren't accepting of the will of God at that point.
Yeah.
See, the will of God is only as good as what fits our appetite.
Right. And
you know what I'm saying?
And I'll let you get in here, Salaam. God gives us free will. Throughout history, there have been men who have freely oppressed other men.
Absolutely.
Now, those who were oppressed did cry out, and then the Lord did deliver them. But He didn't always stop them from initially being oppressed. It's the same here, and so we can say, well, Paul said to pray for those who have rule over us so we can live in peace. Well, if he didn't think we should live in peace, he would tell us to pray for them. And if we're going to pray for people, we should vote for people who we think got some dang on sense in the first place, who could do the job, right? So all that goes together. You don't vote for people who don't have a clue. Somebody come and brag, I ain't never been in government, and I ain't never done nothing, and I ain't.
You coming in there saying I'm unqualified?
Yeah,
hire me. I'm unqualified. I don't know anything about the job.
Alabama.
I don't know the process. I don't know how it works. I don't know how they pass laws and bills.
I don't know nothing. Alabama just voted for Tommy Tuberville, and they were asking him basic questions about the Constitution. This fool don't know nothing, man, but he knows that he cannot. He doesn't like the Voting Rights Act.
Interesting.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. You said a mouthful there. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just make sure you can hear me. I want to touch on the issue of control, because yes, scripture is used to control the exploited, right? And it's used in a way where, like, okay, turn the other cheek, or hate or destroys the hater, that kind of stuff. So if I have contempt for my oppressor, then I'm somehow worse than the deed that the oppressor did to me. It's like a reverse kind of a psychology.
Right.
And y'all help me out. I think it was Matthew 16:23, where and forgive me if I'm wrong, but that's a verse that sticks out in my mind, where Jesus said that you are of your father, the devil. He told that to Peter. See, we either see when they teach us Jesus, they teach him to us like he's a punk,
right?
And he's nothing like it.
No,
okay. I mean, he straight up told Peter, "You are of your father, the devil."
Right?
Okay.
So you're a stumbling block, and you do not have the mind of the concerns
of God, that's right.
But human concerns.
That's right. And I see. I'm touching on that scripturally, but I want to speak on control, how control was used, and how influence is used. Okay, bear with me for a minute because I've been wrangling about this. Okay, you think of the names Michelle Alexander, Ibram Kendi, other bright scholars and authors. And
by the way, brother, I love the T-shirt. I love the T-shirt.
I'll be talking to you about that one later.
Absolutely.
Talking about how I can get my hands on one of them.
Absolutely. I'll send you the link. Get you one. Yes, sir.
You got that right.
Yes, sir. This is family. This is what we about. So,
absolutely.
And you think about like the Ibram Kendis, the Michelle Alexanders, the Dr. Joyce DeGruy, and shout out to all of them. But when you look at what they present, in their respective material, their goal was to try to coach up or influence racist white people in a racist white system, right? But you can't influence or coach up someone who is going to walk away from, and leave an advantage on the table, right? I mean, so if I'm winning a game and I know I'm winning the game with the way it's set up, there's no amount of coaching or influence that you can tell me that's going to make me drop my flag and, turn the tables around to where I'm going to be at a disadvantage to you when I just exploited off of you. I just ate off of you. You know what I mean? I just conquered you. I killed your men. I enslaved your children, and I bedded your wives. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do that. You know what I mean? That's just not how the power.
That's not human.
It's not human nature. That's not how the power dynamic works. So I look at that and look at the events that we had, earlier this year, when you have, Nick Cannons, when you have the Professor Griff, and the flack that they caught, from the Jewish community. I'm gonna speak to this. Did the Jewish community try to coach, quote unquote, them up as to how you could not be anti-Semitic? Supposedly, not that whether they're anti-Semitic or not, I didn't really want to get into that. But where I'm going is how you influence somebody either through control or through tapping into a willingness to want to grow out of something or look at a new perspective. And each time the charge of anti-Semitism has come up, it's never been about growth. It's never been about coaching up. It's been
Strictly
about control.
untolerated.
It's been about intolerance. It's been about center. They center themselves. Where okay, we're gonna fly Deshaun Jackson to Auschwitz, okay, but hell, Deshaun, all he had to do is go haul up Southwest Airlines and fly down the Mississippi Delta. What the hell you need to go to Auschwitz for? I mean, this is real talk. So when you look at like how the angles are, okay, we look to say, well, let me teach you about unconscious bias. Let me teach you about white privilege. Let me teach you about centering. Let me teach you about white fragility. And I mean, we came up with all these scholastic terms, and we still in the same shit, deep shit, I might add, in shallow water, like my mama said. Like my late mama said, you in deep shit in shallow water, boy. This is what she used to say.
I'm
right?
adding that to my repertoire.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Because I ain't heard it before, but
courtesy of Betty Thompson.
yes, sir.
and the thing is that what scholastic terms did black people or anybody who's ever been accused of anti-Semitism learn in a way that matures it? So you got to ask yourself, are you trying to grow me or are you trying to control me? You know what I'm saying? And I'm using that as example because it's a power dynamic. And yes, we can use the white example as well, but I'm focusing in on this charge of anti-Semitism against black people. That this is a means of control. Whereas if you don't do things my way, I'm gonna take your bread. I'm gonna take I'm gonna take your assets. I'm gonna take your customer base, your fan base. You ain't gonna get no shine. You ain't gonna get no visibility. I'm gonna take you out of the big house to the outhouse. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't live. Anyway, I'm gonna have you like bumming for change on the side of the road. If you don't straighten up and fly right. So they're trying to control you instead of trying to dialogue with you. And it's an interesting thing when you talking to different groups in collaborative fashion as to what is their angle, what is their driving point. Are you looking to try to grow me, or are you looking to try to learn me? And unrelated to that, I just want to put that on the table, but unrelated to that, the election, I'll be brief about this. Obama won in 2008 and 2012, right?
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, I think because we black people generally didn't ask him for anything. We thought that we were gonna it was just a given because he knew, because we put him on too. We didn't just wake up and just put Biden and Kamala in. We rolled hard for Obama, nickels and dimes, and quarters to get him up in there too. And he went when my aunt was alive. He went because his house was right around the corner from where she was living in Hyde Park. He went over there, okay, to collect dollars from senior citizens. He hustling the old folks. You know what I'm saying? So we roll hard for him, right? But after that, what happened is
party.
See, 3 weeks after Barack was inaugurated the first time, the Tea Party was born.
Right.
They went to work.
You went to fight.
You know what I mean? Yeah. They started putting their building blocks in place to create this 2016 dynamic. Because why? because we didn't have anything behind Obama as like a succession plan to like keep a consistent winning streak of power. There was no like real dynasty or effect, a presidential effect post Obama. You know, after that, because there was a vacuum, and Trump filled that vacuum, you know, with this resentment on Obama, right?
Right.
So what I'm hoping will happen this time around, hopefully we learned our lesson with Biden winning, you know, I mean, he bust his ass in, you know, in every state in the union, okay? So with Biden and Kamala winning now, what I would hope, and I don't, it's only been a week old since they've been, you know, elected, so I'm letting them cook for a while, right? Mm-hmm. I will hope that they put people in place to where there's a Jacob's ladder, if you will, politically speaking, to where they can like there's a succession plan in place. Okay, Kamala, when I ride off to the sunset, okay, you got it. Okay, now who you got is coming down the pipe that you can groom, right. And boom, so on down the line.
Right. Because you don't. I know maybe
because we can't.
I don't see Joe going for a second term. Do you?
It's tough for me to see that because I don't know if I can see that.
How old is he? 78?
Yeah, so I think 78 years old. 78 years old.
He'd be 82.
I don't even think you're gonna want to be bothered after.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna. It's conceivable we can see Kamala in that seat, and I'm telling you, hey, God is my witness. Okay, I know there's some woke white liberal folks out there. You just wait till you see the resentment that she catches when she occupies that seat. Not if, when she occupies that seat. And that resentment is going to come from the earlier mentioned white female electorate who the increase in votes for Trump this time around than they were in 2016.
So what you're saying, we thought we saw resentment when Obama got in. We ain't seen
right. Because how many times have you seen white women place themselves in a position of congruence with the plight of black people in general? You see what I'm saying? So you had a black man in the seat, okay? And think about this, because this is not the first time this happened. This happened back in the mid 1800s in the Seneca Falls Convention when who I'm thinking of, Susan B. Anthony. And what's the other woman's name? I have it written down somewhere. I'll read it when I start talking. It'll come to me. But they had their women's convention to try to start up the suffrage movement. Who did they have speaking on their behalf? Mm-hmm. They had one of our great minds, Frederick Douglass. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he was the only person that was black that was there. No black woman was invited there. But it was for women's suffrage, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm not going to be surprised if we see that again when Kamala sits in that executive seat for the first time. And given the fact that we already saw Hillary take an L before, they try to point the finger at black people, well, you all didn't vote her in.
It was women.
You know, but
it was women.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, so Kamala gets in there. I'm just hoping there's a succession plan that's strong enough that can at least go build it out at least about 20 years.
And brother, to your point, it was only a couple of states, I think Michigan, Wisconsin, or Pennsylvania. If she'd have got either one of those, she'd have been all right.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think Michigan, Michigan went red, right? So yeah. This time around, it was flipped.
Yeah.
You see? So Arizona flips. You see, so there's a number of states in the go ahead.
All went red. Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania in 2016 all went for Trump.
Right.
They all went for Trump. See, and they flipped this time around. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Back to blue. They flipped back to blue.
To blue. Right. You're right. So
they flipped red.
Yeah, so it was some banging, you know. But what I had to hope for, like I said, is at least a 20-year success. But I don't expect them to have a plan for the rest of the century. Right. But at least for what they can control, at least let's get that block of a winning streak. Just like how Republicans, they had Reagan, then they had Bush. You know what I mean? So they had a legacy shit. That was a good 12-year block. You know what I mean? We need to get double figures with that legacy building.
But to your point, Salaam, and this is what Brother Roland Martin gets on the DNC about. They don't have a long-term strategy like the Republicans do. Republicans
Right.
they have long-term strategies for packing courts.
Mm-hmm.
They have long-term strategies for controlling state legislatures,
Mm-hmm.
which controls redistricting and how voting is done, all that stuff. So
Right.
that's what the DNC need to get back into, digging into state legislators, get not just Congress. Well, of course we want Congress because we want Mitch
Mm-hmm.
out the way, which we're going to get.
Yeah.
Which we're going to get into Georgia, but it also matters on the state level because
Right.
these people make laws and voting laws and all that stuff that impacts all of us.
It matters more.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
It matters more on the state level, on these
Yes.
local levels, man, because that's the stuff that impacts you, like you just said, with the redistricting and the restructuring of a political district. That stuff affects you on a daily basis, man, all the way down to dog catcher.
That's
Who
right.
running the streets in sand? Who running your you know what I mean? Your utilities. What are the commission, the head of that commission? All of this stuff, man. People need to understand how deep and how layered this game is, man, and stop thinking that it's just a 4-year cycle of when you should give a damn.
no,
Absolutely.
because some of these, even in Congress, some of them jokers in there for 6 years. They got 6-year terms, depending on the state.
Yeah.
It's a state, a senator does, yeah. Those are 6-year terms, but congressional congressmen are 2.
Okay.
But my point is, we had these conversations and they're necessary conversations about a Mitch McConnell, about a Lindsey Graham, these folks who are in these other states, yes, but they're heading policies that affect everybody around the country. Yeah, it's definitely
Everybody.
important. But like you said at the top of the conversation, Jay, when you talked about Florida and that crazy bill that DeSantis is introducing.
Yeah.
And what was your next statement?
Really?
If that's a Republican-led state legislature,
Mm-hmm.
then the likelihood of that foolishness passing just increased. You see what I'm saying? So Floridians at the state level need to be very worried about that.
Yeah.
And in any of these other states, man, we got to be aware of what's right in our backyards, man, when we're talking about these political power structures, man. It ain't just
There
about
are chain links that go to the top.
Exactly. And it ain't okay, Obama ain't there or Kamala. Listen, I love the sister. I'm glad she's there, and she gonna get my vote when it's her turn.
It doesn't stop there. Yeah.
But
Exactly.
the fight only begun.
Let alone stop there. You
Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
Because
we ain't overcome shit.
Tell me who your state senator is. Tell me who your state rep is.
Yeah,
Tell me
right.
who your alderman is or your councilman is. Because
Yeah.
see, these are the folks that are impacting your daily existence, your everyday.
Yeah, because we look at the top of the ticket. Okay, we got somebody at the top of the ticket we like, but then you got people in Congress that's blocking it. Well, what did you really accomplish?
There you go.
Right.
There you go. He's sitting in that seat, or Obama, and we saw the 8 years of that back and forth.
Yeah.
He was sitting in that presidential seat, but when he's dealing with a state and a Republican senator and Congress, what is he dealing with?
Obama needed a gangster in his administration to go deal with. That's what he really needed. And I was telling because some people were like, "Oh man, Joe Biden said he gonna have some Republicans in his administration." I thought about. I said, you know what? He probably gonna need them to go deal with Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, he probably will. Oh, Jay, but real quick, the other person I told you about, aside from Susan B. Anthony, is Elizabeth Cady Stanton.
Okay.
And both of them were about racists.
Yeah.
Okay, but continue on.
He asked if it was Margaret Sanger, but
No, they were before Margaret Sanger.
Yeah, they were
good
before.
question, though.
Yeah.
But same school of thought, though.
Yeah.
Let me piggyback on something Salaam said too. So what you said about the legacy shit. So that's on point. That's on point. Before I speak on that, let me just say all these super woke brothers who were saying for the last 4 years or 4 months. Well, Democrats just take us for granted. We make sure we get something. Well, this is the time to be pressing, organized, and press for the shit you want for the next 4 years. Don't come to me with this bullshit, in June of 2021 or 2022 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is the time to organize and get the shit you want. Press the shit now. Come up with a plan. Press your plan. Organize your plan, et cetera, et cetera. As far as what you said, Salaam, about the legacy, I think that's good. Man, we're gonna really need some strong leadership for that, because like what Jay was talking about, what Roland was dealing with, man, Democrats, man, they some bitches. You know what I'm saying? They some bitches. Why
qualify that, brother? The corporate Democrats.
Yeah, which establishment? I'd even say establishment Democrats. They some bitches, and they don't know how to message.
They don't know how to fight.
They don't know how to unify. They don't know how to brag about the good shit they got. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like they ran from the Affordable Care Act. You know what I'm saying? They passed it, and then they ran from it. You know what I'm saying? They don't, and so in between having the arguments that they had this last time, between this camp and that camp, that's just, oh man, it's so frustrating. You know what I'm saying? So all of this, it's no different, man. When you got old school and new school, the old school do have to respect the new school, and that was something that I think, there needs to be some mentorship going on, like Jesse Jackson didn't want to do. You know what I'm saying? It was like he was almost like bow down to me, or
kiss
get the fuck to step and kiss the ring. But some cats like Clyburn, like if you want to know, they gonna hook you up and tell you how to win. Hell, Nancy Pelosi can tell you how to win. She tell you how to stay.
Tell you how to money.
She tell you how to stay, how to get there and stay. Like even Roland was saying, run on the stuff in your districts that your people want. You run on that, and then when you come into the Senate or what have you, or the House, then you could talk about some collective national stuff. But your messaging is going to be where your local people are.
That's right.
But Democrats, establishment Democrats, well, and some of these new people, between the arguing and stuff and the bitching and complaining and all of that, again, not knowing how to keep a message, not knowing how to stay on message, on point, all this who in charge shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one thing, the GOP does. They do. When it comes to race, when it comes to lying, when it comes to stealing an election, when it comes to taking away mailboxes. Hey, and here's the sneaky thing that they're doing now. It may be too late. But the slow moving coup, getting rid of all these people in these high level, I
was gonna bring that
positions.
Up.
You know what I'm saying? That's how, when you start stacking these generals and these heads of these different Pentagon's places, then that's when, it may be a clash between what they're trying to do in this coup versus, what the military people are going to do. So that's the next thing. So, no, I would like to see the same thing, Salaam. I just think there needs to be a serious come to Jesus meeting, and there need to be, they need to have this same unification that these other people have, period. Have your arguments on the inside, you know what I'm saying, in your house,
out front.
But on the outside, oh man, this is our message. This is what we going with for this long. Then we accomplish this, then we go to something else.
Right, because when Republicans, they argue all kind of stuff, but guarantee you at the end of the day, they're going to vote red. And to your point. And so, but to your other point about the coup, now, I did see a message from a general. I don't know which general this was, but he said point blank, we support the Constitution, not in person, not a man, not a woman, not a...
Oh, I know who you're talking about. That was the guy who he felt like he got backdoored with. Was it the one that went out there in that photo op?
Yeah, the church. Yeah.
Oh, that dude.
No, not him. No, this is another general. It's a different
guy. It's a different... Okay.
Mark Esper from DHS. I'm not talking about him because he got...
No, I'm not talking about Esper either. It was a general that was out there with them. When Trump did the thing, when he was holding up the Bible.
And then the general said, hey, I shouldn't have been there. I ain't know it was going down like that.
Well,
exactly, because he didn't been, yeah.
Well, this general they just interviewed recently, he put out a message saying, hey, we the military, basically speaking on behalf of the military, we took an oath to the Constitution.
Right.
So we didn't take an oath to a man, a woman, a person, a president, Congress, or anybody else. And to be known, we take an oath to the Constitution. If our Constitution basically saying, Constitution say you got to go on January 21st, you got to go.
What is it?
I suspect so. Your Sotomayor is going to be somewhere, and maybe it's on TV. Maybe they at the usual place, but somebody like her is going to be she's just going to do the swearing in. Okay, if you ain't going to leave, okay, well, just come to my office then. Bring the cameras. We're going to do the swearing in.
I can see the dude running off like they said. He's just going to be bitter to the end. But
You leave. I don't care what he do.
I don't know.
to your other,
But like I said, we got to seal up that hole wherever hole he go out of. We got to put some putty in that motherfucker to make sure that no shit else come up in there. You see what I'm saying?
Wires and drywall on it.
Exactly. Put some put some steel wool up in that shit.
Right.
Yeah, some caulk and steel wool. Yeah, right. Because else he'd be piping.
right. After the charade of a Supreme Court confirmation that was rushed through, Senator Dianne Feinstein goes up and hugs Lindsey Graham and says, "This was one of the best confirmation hearings I've ever seen." So another establishment Democrat that need to get the hell out of there and go away. She's crazy talking about this was one of the best. What are you talking about?
See, Roland Martin was right. The video that you tagged me in the other day,
Okay.
where he said, when I looked at it, I thought about it. Damn, have you ever heard of a Senate Republican? I never heard of one. But there's Senate and moderate Democrats all damn day long. And the article that you tagged me in, but where Clyburn was saying on a conference call, don't ask for anything progressive. Okay, so I'm good with math, right? Proportions. Okay, so if Republican is to conservative, okay, and Democrat in this case is saying fuck all that progressive shit. Okay, then what the fuck are you? So okay, so you're not gonna fight for the people now? It looked to me like they were trying to stay in power, and that black people were being friend zoned and side chicked again.
Yeah, most people, and whether they realize it or not, do prefer progressive ideas. Now they might consider themselves a progressive, but they definitely believe in wealthy folks paying their fair share of taxes. They believe in having good jobs with good pay and good benefits. They is a lot of things across the board. A lot of people believe in. When they get into the weeds when they start calling it, progressive or this or that or whatever. The people who voted for Donald Trump, who was mad at government, they believe in progressive ideas. Donald Trump.
But see, you have progressive idea in theory and what you conceive in the mind.
He just
now, do you believe in that progressive principle for the person that's less than you or that you're looking down on?
Well, no, they want it for themselves.
See, that's the difference, right?
Yeah. I won't say all of them, but many of them. But I mean, if like Van Jones did, I know I come down hard on Van Jones, but he did do
Don't talk to me about Van Jones. Lord Jesus, that guy.
A couple of years ago, he did
that guy.
He did a series where he was going around different quote unquote blue states, visiting people to find out why they voted for Trump and what would how do they feel about him now? And many of them that they were going back to were like, man, he done played us like a broke piano. You know what I'm saying?
That's why Angela Rye got in his ass when he was working with Trump on that First Step Act, and Gmo said reminded me of that.
Yeah.
The day.
Well, we know the First Step Act, that was not Trump's baby. That's been around.
I know. Yeah. I know.
But he had Trump take credit for it, and he was giving Trump all the accolades. I'm like, man,
Hey, man, Van Jones is a double agent, man.
Huh?
Van Jones is a double agent, man.
Something.
That dude is a FBI informant. I'm telling you, man. That from the old school, man. That guy, man.
Something's off, man. I mean, then I ain't trying to bash your brother because he was crying on TV again the other day, but
man. And I flip-flopped on how I felt about that because like it's one thing like, okay, the four of us and five, we include Reggie. Let's say we pulled up a chair in the circle, we chopped it up. We got a men's like thing, and one was like, "Damn, dog, I'm going through some shit with my kids, man, or my girl, or whatever." And, and that's a safe space right there. A
Mm-hmm.
safe space is not in front of 300 million people. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it did make us appear to be humiliated and it make us appear weak. But at the same time, and I said this before, my wife gave me a perspective, and she said, "Well, far be it from us. These people reporting on the news every day. We don't know what kind of shit that changes that's going to take them through.
Yeah.
You know." And so, and then when I thought about what she said, I said, okay, in battle, the soldiers who were hard nosed soldiers, going through full metal jacket mode, but they see some shit in battle and they just start falling apart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we do have to allow some realm of the emotion, but I think Chris might be on to something, and I'd be interested in hearing more from brother.
Yeah. Let me say this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
eBay just brought up something we need to talk about too.
Okay.
MAGA Church are abandoning Fox News and going over to some Newsmax stuff because Fox News wouldn't go along with the stolen election narrative BS. Okay, but let me tell you what Chris when Chris talked about the election night and the election week and the stress, and man, I ain't gonna lie to you. It got to me, brother. Tuesday night I went to bed because I don't normally go. I don't always go to bed before 12, but I guarantee you Tuesday night I went to bed at 12. I'm like, I can't take it no more.
I meant to bring that up too because he brought up a real good point. It was at a certain point, man. I just had to turn it off.
Turn it off.
Man, I went to bed, man, and I was like, I'll check it in the morning. I got up.
Yep. Exactly what I said.
And then things were kind of, flipping a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, maybe it ain't going to be so bad. But I was like, I ain't sit here and watch 8 hours of CNN a day. That ain't going to happen because it's stressful. It was so bad, brothers, that, and I was in denial, but I'm thinking this was the case. I ended up getting pain in my neck and shoulder. And
same here.
When I say pain, brother, I couldn't even. By Friday night, I took my wife to the movie theater, and by that night, man, I couldn't even move. And I woke up Saturday morning, I was in so much pain, and I couldn't lay down, I couldn't sit up, I couldn't do nothing. I was just in constant pain, like somebody shot me, man.
Yeah,
stress is a real thing, man. Stress is a real thing, dude. And
it'll creep up on you like a damn VC, in the night.
I end up calling
the damn wire.
I ended up calling my doctor, man. I wanted to call him at 3:00 in the morning, but I'm like, I ain't gonna even. He gonna call me until 7 anyway. So I call 7:00. Soon as 7:00 hit, I call him, call his office, and they had him call me back. I said, I am dying over here. You're gonna have to send me something. So he ended up sending me some muscle relaxer, and that helped. That did.
But I mean, and the fact that the evidence of that type of stress and like that's you expressing yours, right? What we know is real, and how we know it's real is look at all the hundreds of thousands of people that went in the street when that stuff was officially announced, man. In Chicago, in New York, in LA, cities around the country, man. People all up and down the street. You never seen nothing like that.
Yeah.
You know, it was more. It was like with Obama, people were out there because of who won, like the man and the person who won, and how excited they were about the person who won. With this one, it was more about who lost.
Right.
So true.
Yeah,
so true.
like Mussolini got overthrown.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, dude, oh my God, man. These last 4 years, bro.
Been stressful, man.
That's an understatement.
That's
an understatement, man. And folks, at the beginning of it, Killer Mike, and I love Killer Mike. I think the brother's intelligent. I think he makes a lot of quality and valid points, with a lot of the things that he touches on. But he said something that for 4 years has irked me, man. When it was either right before or right after Trump got elected, and I'm paraphrasing it because I don't remember exactly what he said. I just remember how I felt when he said it. And it was something to the effect of black folk have dealt with this type of stuff before, we'll be okay, or something to that effect.
Yeah, we dealt with
And I'm like, bro, I got the point he was making. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I got the point he was making, but the problem that I had with it was kind of reckless in the sense that you can't put that kind of nonchalant apathy in people's heads, like what's happening in the world right now is not a real thing, number one.
Right.
And that we are going to just kind of go back to the hood and just be totally unaffected and have no impact or feel no impact.
Business as usual.
If life ain't taught us nothing, is that shit rolls downhill.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And if we catch hell all the time, and the most hell, you know what I mean? What you think we finna catch behind? And just in general situations, we catch it.
Right.
But then when you got a fool who's openly unleashing hell on black and brown communities, black and brown people, black and brown babies, bruh, it was just an irresponsible statement.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
And it's the kind of statement that, in my humble opinion, and again, I love the brother, but in my humble opinion, puts people in the mindset of, oh, we ain't got to worry about it. We don't have to be involved. We don't have to be mindful of what's going on because we've been through this before.
Right.
Well, no, we ain't been through nothing like this before. We ain't been through nothing
certain
like
level of privilege.
Right.
Yep.
You know, wow, this was some whole other stuff.
Well, but and John, you've seen this, and Salaam, you know, me and Brother T'Challa fall out about this all the time.
Yep.
This was not a typical administration. This was not a typical, George Bush or Ronald Reagan or Mitt Romney or cared if Mitt Romney won for real. I wouldn't even have cared if John McCain won. Only thing I didn't like about what John McCain did was he picked that fool Sarah Palin. I could not see her succeeding him if something happened to him. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That was only to get the women voters.
But this was not a normal. This dude, I already knew who this dude was.
There was nothing normal. There was nothing typical.
Nothing normal about this dude. I already knew that.
Nothing.
And like I told you, that vacuum that Obama presidency left because we ain't asking for nothing, and just like we mentioned in the scripture, we won't not because we ask not. And so we thought that brother go get it to her. He's singing Al Green. He rocking with Michelle. We worry about how many Essence covers or Ebony covers they make together, and what kind of weed that they daughters are smoking, and then they're putting something in front of him like, oh, Barack, let's holler about this. We assume that because he and I were skin folk,
he's gonna figure it out on his own.
He's gonna look out for us and be a given. But no, the skin folk in position of power, we didn't understand that. We didn't put nothing in front of him to even. I can't even say whether or not what he'll be willing to do for us or not. Yeah, he didn't do it for us because we didn't ask for it because it was gonna happen. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So if we were if we had the same energy we put in that Biden now over the past few months leading to the election. If we would have kept at Obama with it like that, then we probably would have saw something that come out in the end. But we got caught up in the symbolism. We got caught up in the optics. We got caught up in in the stepping on the floor at the White House ball. We got caught up at him hitting corner threes. In open runs with Jordan and them. You know what I'm saying? So we got caught into all this minutia. That we lost sight of all the other shit underneath.
But this is where we need to step our game up, though, because
and push.
It's like a lot of us were coming for Obama. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't down with him always telling us how to act. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And never saying that.
Be a father to your child.
Right, that kind of bullshit. So a lot of us did, and I can remember from my social media, I was pressing. There were quite a few of us pressing Obama, but the retort was,
we didn't have
to your point, was
collect a policy before him.
No. I'm just saying, period. But the lament was, that's my president. Don't talk about him. You know what I'm saying?
He's so handsome.
Yeah, it's like you couldn't critique him at all. So you had people like Cornel West and Tavis Smiley who was all in their feelings and stuff and over the top, you know, asking him for shit that they never asked Bush for, they never asked Clinton for. You know what I'm saying? They just couldn't stand the brother. You know, they just hated him, you know. So you had that way over the top. And you had people like me that was like, no, dog, you know, or Michael Eric Dyson, for instance. No, man, we love you, brother, but, you know, we critiquing you on this shit here. You know, hey, this here is wrong, you know. No, well, you know, you need to deal with this over here. You know, don't be telling us about being fatherhoods, you know, about our communities and shit. Ain't you been to church? I know you don't go to Jeremiah White's church no more, but you know what I'm saying? You go to his church and you're going to hear that. You're going to hear the shit you talking about. You're going to hear it every damn Sunday, dog. This is our tradition. Personal responsibility. Don't come to us with that. You know what I'm saying? Don't say shit to us that you ain't gonna say to them. So I was there. Matter of fact, when I read Michelle Obama's book, I was like, yo, book was dope. What you said about Jeremiah Wright was foul. Like, it was foul. You threw that brother under the bus. He was there for you. He, you know, and I understood why y'all stepped out the spot. You know, when the thing came out politically, I understand why you did that. But now you all out the White House. Why you got to talk about that man and act like he was some kind of demagogue or something? You crazy? You know what I'm saying? So just like I can say I love Michelle Obama and appreciate everything, you know, blah, blah, and I can still say, sister, you was wrong right there. You know what I mean? It was totally unnecessary, uncalled for. You didn't have to mention the dude's name to do your book. You didn't have to bring it up. All you did was throw salt on a man who spiritually fed you, who was there for you, who's been a part of your community for decades, who's fought way more battles than you have collectively. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, so no, you was wrong. So a lot of us were that way towards Obama too, checking him here and there. Like you said, Jay, maybe not a whole structural collective platform per se, but a lot of us were critiquing him and asking more of him in certain ways and how he dealt with certain things, you know, especially in his second term. I was like, man, you just need to let your nuts hang at this point. You ain't
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like you know, ain't no sense of you trying to be all nice to these motherfuckers. Now they hate you, dog. They gonna hate you up until the end. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing you could do. You might as well just be like, look, motherfuckers, I'm the president. So what? You know what I mean? What? You know what I mean? Because you wouldn't have got treated no different. But at least, you know, you might have should have went on and dropped you, you know, hey, Mary Garland, hey, I'm just gonna put you in the motherfucking seat. Now after let them take you out. Let them take you out if they can do that. But I'm gonna put you in the seat. See what I'm saying? So those are things we was critiquing. Some of us were critiquing Barack about, but a lot of people, man, they just and I had people. I've actually had a woman admit to me, you're right. I can't bring myself to critique the president because of who he is. Yeah. But and I think a lot of us were that way, and maybe that's why we didn't have a collective plan. You know what I'm saying? Because some people were partying, like you said, you know, and caught up in the symbolisms. But you know, some people just didn't want to. Like, I think they felt like they was a traitor or some shit. You know what I mean? As opposed to being, hey, man, no, this cat is in office for a reason, so we need to get some shit out of it. Not that we didn't get anything, but you know, like you said, man, hopefully. Through these legacy, man, and I'm hopeful for, you know, people like Stacey Abrams, man. I'm hoping the brother, I don't know, I forget his name, but the one that's running for Senate in Georgia. Yeah, we have a guy. I hope, you know, I'm hoping for people like that in the future, man. They can really give us a good base to govern from, like you said. You know what I mean, and really make sure that, you know, like I said, even for Joe Biden, hey, all right, got to have some concrete. This is what we need. This is what we need, and we're pressed for it. Don't expect it. Don't expect it. But present it until you get it. Yeah. No, present it and keep on it. Just like they do, Salaam. Just like they do. Present it and keep getting it until you get it. Hey, well, if I ain't got it, why don't I have it? Why not?
I guarantee.
Don't pull up on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and pop the trunk and slang hope. You know what I mean? So like
the gay community did not sit back and wait for Congress to come up with something.
Hell no.
They sit Congress. They say this is what we need and this is what we want. Congress got it done. So let me dive into a few things here.
Go ahead.
You mentioned Merrick Garland. Now Roland brings up a great point. Now, funny how we keep bringing this brother's name up. he said, and I agree with him even back then.
We gotta have him on.
I thought the same thing back then. If Obama should have picked a black woman and dared Mitch McConnell not to vote on her.
True story.
But he was supposed to I think it was who's the girl lady that passed with? Was it Dorothy Height? When he promised Dorothy Height that he was going to put a black woman, a black person in place, and he didn't. And I forgot the Jewish judge that he appointed instead.
Right.
Somebody else.
Yeah, we'll
figure it out. Somebody will say something on the comments. I'm sure Gmos might know. So
what would have happened is he would turn around to Democrats and say, now I've you guys need to get on message. If Mitch McConnell refuses to let her be voted on, you guys kill him for refusing to let this black woman be voted on.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you, he gonna get out the way and let it be voted. And you got your court appointee. So that the other point you made about Dr. West, and I love Dr. West, and he called Trump a gangster. He called him some kind of gangster or something. But you're right. Him and Tavis did not come at Trump like they came at Obama.
And they at the poverty bus or something?
Like nobody. And nobody before and nobody after.
The poverty bus was the funniest thing. But yeah, they had the poverty bus.
The poverty bus. Yeah. I was like, damn, I didn't know you could be broke and have a whole damn bus line.
So you know when it started, Jay, right? It started when he had his State of the Black Union.
I know.
He wanted Barack there,
Obama
and he sent Michelle.
He sent Michelle, right.
Ever since then, boy. Ever since then. Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but and it was just over the top. You know.
Way over the top.
Way over the top. You know, it's like, dude, stop. Nobody's listening to you now, man. You're riding around on the bus talking about how you banging on Obama on the bus. Come on, man. On a poverty bus. Mm-hmm. So the policy thing, and I was just going to say, as a collective, we did not push a specific policy.
Yeah.
To the Obama administration.
But Jay, Julianne Malveaux did in an interview with Obama did ask him about reparations, and he got up and walked out.
Really?
Yes, he did. The very first time that he was running.
Well, I would say this: no president is going to be able to push through reparations. Anyway, not that I don't want reparations. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
No, but he should stand up for it, even if you don't push it through. You know what I'm saying? You can't get.
But he got connections he got connections in the branch where it can make it happen. I mean, he could put a bug in somebody's ear if somebody bring it forward.
North Carolina about to do some reparations.
Mm-hmm. They sure is.
North Carolina, yeah.
Well, here's the thing, brothers, and you guys know this, and I keep saying it, and I keep telling everybody it. I keep telling the ADOS people this because the folks in the ADOS are crazy. So, no politician in Congress is going to pass a reparations bill for black people unless, or shall I say, with 90% of white Americans opposing it, is not going to happen. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, it just ain't going to happen. So now, as time goes on, as you know, some of the younger people come up and they can be more understanding, maybe it'll happen for our grandchildren. I don't know, but as of right now, the way white people in general feel about reparations, Congress ain't going to do that.
And
Jay, that's why we need that succession plan I was talking about.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? You got to have a fortress.
Yeah, you got to.
And I feel like you got to put your shit out there anyway. Put it into the atmosphere. Exactly. Let them say no. Yeah, let them keep saying no.
There's something you work on, and you have strategic plan. That's where think tanks come in. Okay, we might not get it, but we want our kids or our grandkids to be able to get it. So what is it going to take for us to reach that goal? And
even if Jay, I'm sorry, even if they give it to us, let's say they may not give it to us because they want to give it to us. I mean, there's many of the special interest groups when they got stuff, passed for their best interest. I mean, far be it from us to think that they wanted to pass that. They had to push them to get that passed. Yeah. So, like, at this point, frankly, I don't give a fuck. We don't want to be your friend. I mean, there's no friends in negotiation. There's mutual benefits and to the two benefiting parties in that negotiation. But we gotta like set that emotional shit to the side. You
Right.
know what I mean? Okay, you got something I want, I got something you want. Okay, let's make this happen.
Well, when I say oppose, when I say 90% oppose, I'm not talking about they like us or don't like us. I'm just talking flat out adamantly oppose reparations. So, with that being said, Native Americans got reparations. They didn't get reparations because people liked them.
Right.
They got reparations because they were owed it. It just is. I mean, the Japanese internment, they got reparations. You know, the survivors of Hiroshima, the atomic bomb that was dropped on them, they got reparations. They didn't get reparations because people like them. It's just what it is. So I'm not, I'm not saying I agree with you, but we still got to get to a point where enough Americans say, hey, we might not like it, but they're right. They're entitled to this. They never were paid. Their ancestors were never given this. And we right after slavery went right into Jim Crow. And so they are right. You know,
we just gotta keep greasing these wheels because we've never seen this grease after George Floyd, and then all of a sudden, like you start seeing, white people like this, and I thought it was a hell of a dichotomy. But like if we're gonna see that, I mean, just strike while the iron is hot. Like if they open for business, okay, at least like slip a little something in there and let them know, hey, this is what we're looking for. You know what I mean? So, and can eventually come to the table, at least get their wheels turning on their side. Let them do what they got to do. Take their, have their little tea and crumpets on their side and take their fragility classes or whatever. Okay. But come to us and come to this table and let's talk business.
That's why in Florida, if you pass this bill, every black organization, every black person, anybody that's planning on vacation in Florida, I don't care. Shut all that off. Cut it off. I'll call. We cancel our reservation. Why? Because Governor DeSantis is talking about black people.
And our beaches are off the hook in Cali anyway. I'm straight.
And so I'm just saying. So that leads me to my next thing, and then I get you guys' opinion on this. You guys mentioned the power moves that Trump is making right now, firing people. Now we don't know if he's doing this because he's just mad at people and he wanted to fire them. He's taking out revenge on them because they disagree with him. I think there's two phases. I don't have any evidence right now, but I think there's 2 points to that. I do believe that there are people he's been wanting to fire because they publicly disagree with him. The FBI director. Don't be surprised if Christopher Wray gets fired. Esper got fired. A whole bunch of other people.
He's been wanting to fire Esper for like 6 months.
There's some good joker in the White House who are literally going and canvassing employees in the administration to test their loyalty, and if they don't show enough loyalty, they're getting fired. These are the things that fascists do. Okay.
Absolutely.
So my thoughts are that he was planning on doing this. He thought he was going to win, do this anyway. And so imagine if he won and he's doing this. We call it consolidating power.
Yeah.
By the time he would be finished, we probably wouldn't even recognize the United States or the Constitution or any
at all. Yep.
This dude would be like totally taking over. Putting all his cronies in place, the FBI, the CIA, and every organization, every administration, the State Department. I mean, you go down the line, the intelligence community, down the line. So we'll go from Christopher Wray getting on national television and saying that white supremacists are the biggest threat to America. We'll go from that to, well, Black Lives Matter is the biggest threat to America. Which is what Trump wants him to say, which is not true.
Well, that was part of the stress, though, for me.
That was big
prior to the election, because I felt like those men and women in government who have been fighting, who have fought in the courts and testified before Congress, who's really put themselves on the line. I felt like a lot of them would have lost will. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the future people would have lost will to say that, hey, it just doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah, we can't.
So that was really that's really what a lot of the stress was for me. Is feeling like just the will of goodwill people would have just got snatched.
No.
You know?
Career employee, what they call them, career employees or career government,
career bureaucrats.
Yeah, career who just do their job. This is my job. I've been here. Yeah, I might be a Republican or I might be a Democrat, but this is my job. This is what I do.
Right.
It's black and white. I don't care who you are. And now I can't make this decision because if I make this decision and disagree with you, you gonna.
Yeah, I mean because yeah, it's not just the president. It's the president's person who he put in the position.
Like his crony.
So right. So if you work for that person, you know, if you work for Betsy DeVos and she ain't, you know, don't know shit about education, you know, but she's controlling your pension plan, you know, whether you put your kids through college, your mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a tough. You know what I'm saying? That's a
tough call.
That's a tough call.
Put a doctor over a hood.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a tough call. So that was really where most of the stress came in. You know, it was just a fight of all these people who have put their necks on the line, to really believe in the shit we say we believe in.
Imagine Trump still being in power and replacing Christopher Wray with a yes man.
With a what?
With a yes
With
man.
a yes man.
Oh yeah.
Imagine. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, man, this 4 years has been a hell of a civics lesson for a lot of people, man.
A lot of people, dude.
When you learn how these different departments are established and the fail safes and the safety nets that we've taken for granted to such a huge degree.
He's been chipping.
They've never been challenged.
Yeah.
To the degree that they've been challenged over the last 4 years.
Right.
So a lot of us, myself included, man, have gotten a hell of a government, civics education, man, in terms of how government works.
Big time wake up.
The checks and balances system, and really how fragile it is, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
For real.
And
because it's people that make it. Yeah.
It just takes somebody having really the balls and the audacity of a Donald Trump to come along
and test it
and say, not just test it, say, fuck your norm.
Yep.
Fuck your system. I'm going to do this.
What did he say about the Monuments Clause, John? What did he say about the Monuments Clause?
Oh, man, please.
He said, who got get that old stinking Monuments Clause out of here?
Dude, and then when you have people just enough to back that up, your Mitch McConnells, your Lindsey Grahams, your Ted Cruz's, you know what I mean, who back that up and help him justify this position, man. It shows you how delicate, this system really, really is and how fragile. And all it takes is just a single thread to be pulled on, man. And the whole thing
yarn just keeps going.
And the whole thing can start to unravel and come down, bro. The only thing right now that's holding this entire country together is our court system.
And he working on that.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's trying to.
Working on that, yeah. Give him another.
The only thing that's holding this country together right now as we speak are the court systems, these judges in position who, thank God, I don't care if they're conservative or liberal, like we were talking about earlier, whatever their political affiliation is,
do your job.
Thank God that they still are on those benches, basically saying the law is the law.
It is right,
and there's a certain standard, there's a certain that has to be met in order for any kind of decision that you may be coming in front of me looking for, whatever that is. But that's the only thing that's holding us together. It's not the Senate. That's been gone.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
It's barely the Congress, the Congress. You know what I mean? The executive branch is all gone. That's all Trump.
Yeah.
It's the courts, man. It's the courts.
Bastion of protection is the court. And there's something about the way the government is structured. So those guys were pretty smart. I mean, it's not perfect. But those guys were pretty smart in the way they structured this, and I think their biggest motivation was dealing with King Henry. Was it King Henry out of England at the time?
Was it King or King George? I don't know.
Was it Henry VIII?
One of them. It was one of them.
King Henry was 1500s.
Let's just say
way before.
Let's just say they didn't want nothing to do with kingship.
Right. Authoritarianism and all of that monarchy and all of that crap. Enough further proof really quickly of how it's the court system. Even at the Supreme Court level, you're seeing like with what's happening with the ACA, because I hope everybody here knows that that's being challenged right now as we speak. Again, for the third time.
Yeah. Did you hear what what's the name said?
It's the Trump appointees right now that are the linchpins in holding that together. What's the boy's name? Gorsuch. No, not Gorsuch. The other one.
Kavanaugh. What did Kavanaugh say?
His position right now is basically the linchpin position in terms of that thing still remaining intact and remaining law in the land. So, man, we and I'm not cheering, but I'm just speaking truth right now. We really got to recognize that the court system right now, the only things that's holding this country together, man.
Tell all of us what Kavanaugh said, John, because a lot of people.
Basically, to make a real long story short, it's Kavanaugh's position, and it's John. What's the Chief Justice's name?
John Roberts.
It's his position as well. That basically what the Republicans are trying to argue is the fact that the mandate is now gone, that the entire law should be struck down, and Roberts and Gorsuch. I keep saying Gorsuch. Kavanaugh are basically saying, well, wait a minute. First and foremost, you were the ones that removed the mandate.
The mandate, right.
And if you wanted to strike the entire law down, you could have done that.
You should have done it.
And you can't come before us now and say...
Ask us to do it for you.
Basically, to long story short, to try to make it the responsibility of the court, the Supreme Court, to do what you had opportunity to do.
And the legislature.
Or make the argument to say that because this thing goes, the entire law goes. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they are still, and remember now, Roberts also is a Republican appointee too.
Bush.
Was it HW or W?
One of them. I think it was HW. To be honest,
I thought it was W, but okay.
Was it W?
I thought it was W.
He's been there for a minute then.
Yeah, he's been there for a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's so. It's our legal system, it's our court system that's holding this country together by a damn linchpin.
So in Hood,
it's frayed, bruh.
In Hood analogy, basically what the Supreme Court is saying, that's your job. You should have done
your job, right?
Yeah, but if you
and you had opportunity to do it, but you didn't do it. Now you want to put it in our lap to do.
You want us to go down in history as the ones that got rid of everybody's healthcare.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Man, let me say something, man, about what John just said, man. And this is what's going to stick with me for this whole conversation tonight, is when he talked about the fragility of a democracy. Yeah. Now I'm a history guy. I told y'all that. I'm a history buff. So like somebody who understands something like that, like a John Meacham, is really good at explaining that. This book I read called "The War Before the War: Fugitive Slaves and the Struggle for the American Soul from the Revolution to the Civil War." That's Andrew Delbanco.
Okay. I write that down.
Man, it's so cold, man. Look, it's people that, like what you said, John, about a civics lesson. I mean, it all comes in, like, to a degree, man, you just be sitting on the fat of the land, you know what I'm saying, on what people have already done without realizing that it's an ongoing process. I listened to a podcast, man, that dealt with dealt this whole series on Abraham Lincoln getting assassinated. And basically, man, the case they make is that it wasn't just about Abraham Lincoln, man, because when he got assassinated, they tried to kill the Secretary of State. Like they tried to kill a whole group of people all at the same time. What it was, man, it was a coup.
It was a coup.
It was a coup from the South. Yeah. Like it wasn't just about Lincoln, man. Like they had cut the telegraph lines that night. Like everything. Like they went in. This has never been taught in our schools,
John Wilkes wasn't solo.
Oh my God.
He wasn't solo at all.
Man, like the night Lincoln got killed, man, there was a whole bunch of people got done up.
Yeah.
A whole lot of people. And like I said, they cut the communications line. Nobody knew where Andrew Johnson was. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There was some prostitutes involved. It was a whole, man, bro. It was so scandalous. So it was a whole coup, you know. And so, man, what you said, man, and this is gonna be a theme for me going forward, John, is to illustrate and talk to people and let them know, man, that it's up to us to keep the shit going, you know, to keep the shit alive, these ideas, because it don't just happen, you know. It has to be cared for, you know, like a tree, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You gotta root some shit out, you know what I mean? You gotta water it, you know what I mean? You have to care for it. It's not just there by accident, by osmosis, you know.
Exactly.
And to preserve it, man, it takes real work. Man, I'm so glad you said that.
But see, that's the other part of the danger of what Killer Mike said. Exactly what you're talking about. We again, back to the point I was making about this point. We can't just sit in the hood and just let shit happen, bro.
Right.
Because when you do that, you're giving your life over to other motherfuckers to make the decisions for how shit go.
That's right.
Like you just said, Chris, if we're not active in making sure that these systems are maintained and making our voices heard, bro, you'll have the Trumps of the world and the other.
You got company, though.
You'll have the Trumps of the world and everybody else come along and do that if we ain't got the checks and balances on.
Bro, that's so important, man. That's so important. So but y'all, look, Salaam, The War Before the War. When I tell you to read that book, bro, it's gonna blow your mind.
I just wrote it down.
It's gonna blow your mind. Trust me.
Who's the author again, brother?
Andrew Delbanco.
Okay.
I love John Meacham, man. He's an absolute.
John Meacham's cold. He's a beast. He's a beast. And you know what? And
what's the podcast you was talking about?
I'll find it.
Let me make a announcement real quick.
Should be a link.
Let me make a link real quick.
Bet.
Let me make an announcement real quick. For those who are just joining us, I know some of y'all were expecting to hear from St. Louis Police Department Sergeant James Daly. He had to cancel tonight, Call of Duty. So he's going to try to reschedule, and he really wants to have this conversation. So just want to let y'all know we didn't pull a fast one on your sleight of hand. Brother had to pull out on us tonight, but we'll get him on. Promise you that. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, man. So we got to be, and I first of all, just my personality, man. I'm not no sit back and just let stuff happen kind of cat. That's just not how I'm built. Just on a personal level. You know what I mean? And just let the world happen, or try a little bit, and then when I meet a little bit of adversity, just say, oh, well, I guess, you know, it's just supposed to go. No, fuck that.
Hell no.
You got to show me that I'm not supposed to have whatever it is I'm after, or I'm going to push back on that thing that's pushing against me. Right. You know, that's just the way I'm built. I'm hard-headed like that. God forgive me.
Me too.
But,
yeah, when you say I can't, that makes me work harder.
Man, and it's just the way I'm wired, bro. And the thing that I need to see us do, and by us I mean our community do, man, is be more diligent about having a hand in what happens with us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And understanding those systems that affect our daily life right around us, man. Right around us every single day, and how we need to have some type of hand in there and affecting the things that are affecting us, shifting and moving. Like we were talking in our last podcast discussion, man, about how if you're waiting, or one of the points that I brought up, if you're waiting for November, the first November every 4 years, thinking you're going to walk into a voting booth, make a decision, and then that's just you doing your due diligence in terms of affecting change in the world. No, man.
You got the wrong idea.
Whoever it is that you're making that choice for on that first November in every 4 years, they didn't just get there on the Monday before that Tuesday.
Right.
No, that process was put in play years before you stepped into that booth. Years before. I was looking at something with Obama the other day, and they were talking, because he just dropped his book. Right. His latest book. And he's talking about his journey, you know, bringing it up again, and how he was saying at the Democratic convention before the one that he spoke,
in 2000,
he couldn't get in.
In 2000.
In 2000.
Okay.
He couldn't even get in the convention. I think somebody else had invited him or something. He didn't have the credentials to get in or something. I said, because nobody knew who this dude was. He was trying to get in there. And then 4 years later, he delivers the speech that
put him on the scene.
Put him on the map.
On the national scene that 4 years after that
got him the presidency.
He's the president of the United States. But 8 years, he went from not even being able to get into the convention,
right,
to being the Democratic nominee of the convention and ultimately being elected president. That's an 8-year span of just that. We ain't even talking about the community organizing that he was doing back in our hoods, Salaam, on the south side, Hyde Park and Inglewood, and wherever else he was shaking and moving, and the state senate ship he ran for. And didn't he run against Bobby Rush and lose?
He lost to Bobby Rush.
He lost to Bobby Rush. That's the only election he lost.
Did.
Bobby Rush. And he lost that. And then was in the state senate, then ran for U.S. Senate and all. You see what I'm saying? That was a process, man.
And Bobby Rush still in there. He barely holding on somehow, sickly or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But Rock already exploded.
Salaam, do you remember we were on Black America Web and we were talking about this guy? Because you know, obviously you're from Chicago, but we was talking about this guy, this Obama guy from Illinois that was, and I was telling people at the time, I was like, hey y'all, we really need to consider him for the White House.
That was right before he spoke at the DNC in 2004.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
man. So, I mean, my point being with all of that, man, is that you got to be involved at the grassroots level, man. You know, and we were talking about PACs, you know what I mean, the last time. And another thing that we didn't really touch on that we really need to kind of bring it to is the whole think tank thing.
Yes.
Right. You know, these political think tanks, which is basically when a group of these motherfuckers get together and say, all right, y'all, who's out there? Yeah. Who's out there that we like, that we want to push to the forefront to be the face of the positions and the issues and the legislation that we want to get pushed through?
Yeah. Well,
that happens in these think tanks and in these PACs and all of these other things, where they go digging and looking for these people who they want to prop up,
right,
to be the faces of the positions and the legislation and the policies and the issues that they want to get pushed through on the local, state, federal level.
And that's exactly what the Tea Party did 3 weeks after Obama got inaugurated the first time.
There you go.
They went to work while we were celebrating and toasting it up and whatnot.
There you go.
Them motherfuckers went to work.
The Koch brothers.
Yep.
So, hey, did you read what he's saying now, the last remaining Koch brother?
What did he say?
How he's regretting what he did with all of that.
The
partisanship that him and his brother pushed through, and now he wants to make a change.
Yeah,
because they started out as libertarians in 1980. Right. You know, when Reagan was running.
Right. Well, they are responsible for.
Hold on, fellas. I'll be right back.
Yeah. You know what? And Antonio Gomez just brought up a great point. Did y'all see Candace's reaction to Obama's book being released?
I told you, man, I don't pay her no attention, so
I stopped paying her attention.
But what'd she say though?
All basically said he hates America and all this other bull crap.
Wow, of course. I mean, consider the source, right?
Yeah, she's still trying to stay relevant, but you know, those on the other side that listen to her, they eating that up. You know, an American president hates America. Get out of here. You know, they should laugh. She should be laughed out in the public arena. But to
that Candace chick.
Yeah, but to John's point about think tanks, first a think tank, and we know this because we're trying to form one. By the way, John, we're actively trying to form one. If you want to join us,
who's we? Oh, hell yeah, who is we?
We some brothers and sisters.
I'm on there.
Yeah, Salaam's on there, and some other.
Man, listen, man, can't just talk about it, got to be about it. So hell yeah,
absolutely, let's do this shit. You know,
one thing that we've all agreed on is we got to agree on what our platform is going to be, what we want, what we stand for, because we don't want to be like everybody else. There's 1,000 think tanks out there. We want to stand out, and on top of that, we want our message to be clear and who we target, you know, and then we go for funding from there. But yeah, I just wanted to put that in your bug, drop that bug in your head. So our people on there, we love to have you if you want to join. So
absolutely.
Okay, great. This phenomenon with Fox News. So there are some people at Fox who still do believe in journalism and news. You know, we know about Chris Wallace. We You know about old boy that left. What's his name?
Oh yeah. He used to get him down Trump ass all this every chance he got.
Oh, yeah,
Shepard Smith.
he stayed on Trump's head, but yeah, he's over at CNBC now. He's got it.
Yeah, he's CNBC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some other ones there. Caputo, I think that's his name. And some other on the news side. We're not talking about the entertainers. We're talking about
You talking about Neil Cavuto. Yeah.
So they refuse to go along with all the BS narratives of stolen election and fraud and all this crap. So if people don't realize, I think was it Wednesday or Thursday, Fox News called Arizona for Joe Biden.
Oh man, they called it like a week before they were even.
And the dude was a fan, and they said, "No, our analysis is a point. We ain't changing." And it all hit the fan, and Donald Trump went crazy, and all the supporters went crazy. But ever since then, that just kind of kicked off a whole series of things. So they've been looking at these other options, and they're talking now that Trump might drag them over to Newsmax or some other crazy.
What's that conservative? It's a
OAN or something like that.
QAnon, that's what you're talking about?
No,
it was a social media platform, Salaam.
Yeah.
I just found out about it. I think it's called Parler.
Parler, that's it. That's it.
I just found out about it. I haven't been
on. Like the racist Twitter, I think. Yeah,
right.
Okay. I got you.
So now, because I had a discussion with some younger black conservatives earlier about this, and I said no. I said the Trump supporters are running to Parler because they know they got 4 years of karma coming. All that dust and crap that they kicked up, they got it coming. They don't want it. They run it. And so I said too, and the other part, people like them, they prefer confirmation bias. They don't want anything that disagree with them. That's why they're trying to jump off of Fox, because if they watch any of the news shows, they're going to get pushed back. Now, if they go watch Tucker Carlson and all those other idiots, Hannity and all them, they'll get Trump TV network. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Dude, if I ever see Tucker Carlson on the street, I'm swinging on sight.
Oh man,
AIDS on sight.
On sight.
And some people are suggesting that he might try to run in 2024. Man,
who?
Keep Tucker. Yeah.
This is why that succession plan is expedient. We gotta have something in place.
Yes.
To all that shit.
He's a Donald Trump, but he's actually intelligent. So if Donald Trump was actually intelligent, we probably wouldn't.
It'd be worse.
We wouldn't be.
It'd be worse.
Yeah.
It'd be worse.
Tucker Carlson is a Donald Trump who's actually intelligent.
That's worse.
Hey man, can I ask y'all a side petty question?
Go ahead, man.
How does Lindsey Graham look himself in the mirror?
He can't. He don't care. He can't. He cannot care, man. Because, and I was thinking about this the other day. I said, now, if John McCain was still here, still alive, do any of us think that John McCain would be kissing Donald Trump's shoes? I don't.
I don't think
we already know he didn't. You saw what he did. He came in and.
He said,
nope.
Yep.
He flew on machines hooked up to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Flew in. It came in. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I'm out.
And I'm out. For the dramatic with that one right there, boy.
And I'm out.
Wow.
No, he wouldn't be kissing his ass. But you know what? Not only Graham, but Ted Cruz, dude.
Oh, man,
about his
worse than Graham, though. He's
talked about his wife.
Yeah.
He talked about. I mean, how you talk about my family, and now I'm kissing your ass, and you know, where's the self-respect as a man?
No, I'm like, it's warfare at that point.
No, you
yeah, it's warfare.
He ain't got nothing to talk about, dog.
John, back in 2016, after that, they had a shot of Ted Cruz on the phones campaigning for Donald Trump. That was. I'm like,
him and Graham are one of the main ones that's still pushing this whole election fraud crap.
How do you go home and look your wife in the face, man? How do you go home and look your wife in the face like, yeah, well, you know, I'm campaigning for Trump now?
I think what he says is, honey, we live in a very nice house.
Yep.
That's probably what he says.
Think about it like this. Those dudes are rich, right? Most of them, anyway. You talking about senators? They're rich. So, what incentive do they have to hold on to the job other than power?
Right. Oh yeah, that's what it is. It's power. Yeah, it's power.
I mean, I totally get that, man. At some point, bro,
your family out. You're selling your wife's dignity and your father because he trashed his father too.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I said. But at some point, dude, how does that continue to sit right with your soul? With your spirit?
Right. See,
your own sense of self. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like as a human being and as a man, how do you go to sleep and how you ain't got a big knot in your stomach?
Right.
Every day. You know, or a whole one from acid just eating you from the inside out. How you good with that?
I'd have ethered him and his wife because his wife got porn pictures out there, right?
Oh yeah. That
you talking about Ted Cruz wife?
She got,
yeah.
He wouldn't have messed with me like that, man. I'd have.
Her titties look like this here.
Oh Lord.
Man, Ted Cruz is sad, man. I don't even know. I don't know, but that's their problem. But yeah, I just thought that whole Fox News, Newsmax, these dudes running off to Parler, and somebody else brought up a good point too. They said, hey, right now, platforms like Parler are new. They're not really regulated, but if they blow up and they start get advertisers, guess what's going to happen?
They're gonna get regulated.
They're going to get regulated. They're going to have
regulators.
So Trump doing the whole media empire. Been calling that for the past couple of years. His boy, his ex-boy, Michael Cohen, because he was on the inside with Trump for years. He known what the game plan was, and he's the one that confirmed what I knew when Trump was running. And I think I may have said this to you, Jay, back in the day, and a few other people when he was running this 2016. This dude ain't serious. He's not trying to win. And Cohen confirmed it. He said he was never trying to win. It's just what happened was they didn't expect people to jump on board.
Right.
To the degree that they did. He was just trying to set up his next business move. He wasn't trying to be the president.
On board because of that vacuum.
Right.
Yes. See? And he wasn't trying to win nothing. He wasn't serious about it. It was all promotional to him.
Right.
And but him being somebody who can't resist the allure of power, and I mean, of course he gonna go right along with it.
Yeah.
He never had no interest in governance and politics like to that degree, and actually being any damn body's president but his own.
No, he wasn't gonna say I was just playing. I don't want it.
Yeah, right.
Oh no. You hand this fool the most powerful on the world.
I'll just try to get some publicity. No, he ain't gonna say it.
And Michael Cohen confirmed it, man. So, and just like he's saying now, he first of all, and I told somebody, I said he's not gonna concede. Not that the law requires him to. He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, January 20th, Joe Biden's the president. So that is what it is. But he's just trying to set up his next move.
Yep. That's all.
And he's leaving us vulnerable.
He's
exactly
right.
Leaving us vulnerable. So
I mean, he always said in the first press conference he had in 9 days. What was that? Yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday he just talked.
Yeah. What he say? He always say, yeah, ain't no help coming on this COVID thing. He said no. He said maybe the next. He almost slipped up and said maybe the next administration, but then he called himself because he realized saying that would also almost be him saying he ain't gonna be president. So he stopped short. He said, well, whoever's running the next administration, maybe they'll deal with it. I don't know. Let's see what happened. He tried to switch it up. But
and I called it from
I ain't doing shit.
I called it from the gate that he gonna try to just damage to leave a mess.
Being a big mess.
That's what Cohen said. He said if he's gonna burn the house down. If he can't have the house, he's gonna burn it down.
Nobody will. Yep.
Nobody will.
So John, this is the guy that's trying to make America great again.
Right. By tearing it down.
House down.
And what other? It was a white woman who was getting interviewed. She was a part of the Trump organization. I forget her name. Cohen knows her because they all, they work together for many years. She said the same exact thing. If he can't have it, nobody can.
Nobody can have it. He gonna
burn it down.
Watch out, America. This is your guy that said he's gonna make America great. He loves America. He gonna burn it down because he's butt sore.
And think about it, like Biden has the most popular votes in history of an election.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And just to think that who's ranked number 2?
Yep, Donald Trump.
Ain't that scary?
That's scary, man.
That's where we are.
That's what we are as a nation.
And when you look at the numbers,
Half the
like
nation
even
want to keep this dude in power, and we
yeah,
got falling off from left and right from COVID.
he's like Biden is here, Trump is right there.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah. In the
can't.
grand scheme of things, right? Yeah.
There's
5
no
million
reason
ain't a lot when you're talking
It's not a
about
lot.
the distance between 71 and 75
At
million.
75, that's not a lot of people.
That's not a lot of
a
damn
gap. That's not a lot. That's not a big gap.
71 million people. He got 60, what was it, 68 the first time around, 67?
He increased from that.
4 million plus more votes.
Mm.
I mean, so we
don't know
we can celebrate, thank God he gone. But we definitely gonna have to have a conversation about the fact that over 4 more million people voted for him this time. Now understand he running on record at this point.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He running on track record at this point.
Yes. Resume.
He got a resume at this point and got 4 million more votes this time than he did the first time.
Ain't that a bitch? Yeah.
Hey, look here.
That's the story of America right there.
There you go. There you go.
And that's America's soul right there. That's
right there.
America's
in them numbers and in the breakdown of that, there it is, right there.
Salaam, some of these people are going to have to go through counseling because they've been so gaslit. I ain't saying because some of them know it's BS, but they just go along with it because that's. But some
cognitive. Let me tell you, we can call it cognitive dissonance, which is what that is. But what it really is whiteness.
Yeah,
it's the allure and the drunkenness, the intoxicatingness. Let's of whiteness.
Once you get that first hit,
they'll preserve it at any cost. I don't know if you brothers heard of this book. I got it at the crib, man. Powerful book. It's by this brother. It's not a brother. He's a white guy, actually. Dr. Jonathan Metzl.
Yeah.
The title of the book is called "Dying of Whiteness."
Ooh.
Now, what's interesting about his book is he wrote this pre-Trump era.
Yeah. Hang on 1 second, brother. Sergeant Daly just chimed in. He's watching us, so just want to give him a shout out.
What's up?
We see you,
Sarge.
All right, what's happening?
We're getting you on next time. We
got you, buddy.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So this
Jonathan Wetzel, you said, right?
Metzl,
METZL.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He wrote this book. It came out last year in 2019.
Okay.
And it's based on research that he did in the heartland of America. From 2013 to 2018 is where he gathered his data. He's a sociologist and a psychiatrist and things like that. And I forget exactly why he was going around doing this research, but what he started to find out, the unintended kind of revelation of the research was that a lot of these white folks in this heartland of America started revealing to them that a lot of these far right-wing political stances in terms of taxes, gun control, social safety nets, healthcare, all of these things are really centered and buoyed in their own sense and need to preserve their own whiteness.
Absolutely.
And that they will consciously and willingly support positions, political positions, legislative positions
against their own best interests
that are counterproductive to their own best interests.
What's the name of the book again, brother?
Dying of Whiteness.
Okay.
Dying of White. I wrote it down.
Long story. He said these white Americans showed him in the data that they would literally rather die than betray those political views that have become enmeshed in their own sense of white identity.
So basically, do you really die for a lie?
Yep.
And this is the white guy that wrote this book.
I'll be speaking,
that's what we're up against.
I'll be speaking Russian as long as I'm not a nigga.
There you go. There you go.
Bingo.
You know what I'm saying? You could have all the money. I could be on a farm. I could be over here dirt poor on food stamps.
But I ain't a nigga.
And we can let.
And the interesting thing is, back in the day, Didn't Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois write about the psychological wage of whiteness?
Mm-hmm.
See,
The souls of white folks.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So that's cool.
Even Lyndon Johnson said that. I'm gonna leave it alone. He said this back in the 60s. Lyndon B. Johnson, the
I
president.
know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
Right.
If you can convince the lowest white man that he's better than the best
colored man, he won't see
he won't
you
notice
empty
you
in
picking
his
his
pocket.
pocket.
Yep.
But
He'll give you somebody to look down on and empty his pockets
for you.
Man,
right there.
Lyndon B.
Lyndon
Johnson.
Johnson in the
I've
60s.
heard it.
Left and right channel.
He said that.
Lyndon Johnson in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you can convince the poorest white man that he's better than the best black man, he won't notice you picking his pockets.
And who was the best black man in the United States for 8 years was Obama. And that's what. And look at the money that was emptied out to create that vacuum.
Thank you.
About to walk right on
that whole Tea Party movement.
Yep. Mm-hmm. 3 weeks after our audience members, 3 weeks after Obama was inaugurated the first time, the Tea Party was born.
Thank you.
That's what time it is.
Thank you.
I need to swing back around to evangelicals for a minute.
Go ahead.
We talked about some white evangelicals, but we didn't talk about the black ones who are co-signing all this mess.
Oh, Jesus wept.
So,
yep, Jesus wept.
Right, and
crying a river.
Antonio Gomez reminded me of one that I've had to dust up with, and he's real popular. Darrell Scott.
Yeah.
Darrell up getting contracts and stuff for himself, up there getting money for himself, getting stuff for himself, and because he was bragging about this, how he got all these deals and stuff for him. So I'm like, you ain't that. How does that help the community? Tell me he got a deal for some bank or something. I'm like, how does that help? How does it help black community?
How that fool still got people in his pews is just beyond me.
Man,
beyond me.
It's amazing, man. But I just had to remember that, and I wonder what he's doing now since the pro-black president is the most pro-black president is about to leave. I wonder what he's getting.
He's spouting that same crazy because he blocked me on another account because I went in on his ass a few years ago. He blocked the hell out of me.
On Twitter,
I called him all kind of coons and for his foolishness and was pushing back against that crazy.
Well, let me
his new account, he can't block me. He's just spouting the same crap.
He blocked
Trump is spouting.
He blocked me actually out of association because even after we had our dust up, he didn't block me. But this other brother, James Tatum, went in on him, and because I was liking James Tatum's the heart. They got the hearts.
Right.
on him. And Antonio Gomez said he got blocked too. So he blocked off. Man, because James Tatum alone on, but it's real, man. You cannot. I told him, I asked him, I said, how can you speak on behalf of the black community? You don't even go talk to the black community.
We don't.
Put a line and talk about you speak to some gangsters in Chicago, and they're gonna come to the table and speak to Trump on Trump's behalf, and OGs in Chicago is like, huh?
How that shit gonna work out in Inglewood, Salaam?
No, it ain't gonna work out at all. But
okay, I just asked.
It'll be like this. 7-14.
I just asked.
Hey, John, you know what this is? Yeah. We on this. You know what I'm saying? They're coming through there at 7-14 on that ass.
They ain't coming nowhere this way.
All I know,
outside my doorstep, I had BDs on one side. GDs on the other. They would get together to ride.
I know is when some national newspapers went to Chicago and talked to some community leaders, we don't know what he's talking about.
Right.
We don't have a clue what he's talking about.
You saw where he was saying that shit from. It wasn't from no corner in 63rd. It wasn't no corner over in K-Town or nowhere else. He's saying it was in some damn press. He wasn't in the hood talking that dumb shit.
Hey, I'm like, come to 63rd and Racine. I'll beat you there.
I dare you.
Bad about it.
You won't get out of there. I promise you.
Okay.
He didn't say, well, I talked to some gang leaders, or I've talked to some people out on the streets in Chicago. He called them some thug. What did he call them? Some Chicago gang thugs or something, man. I mean, it was real derogatory, man. And he's like, yeah, man, I talked to some thugs and some Chicago thugs or something, man. I can't remember the exact terminology, but whatever he said, it was real derogatory. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, now, if you really talk to these dudes, you wouldn't be disrespecting them like that for one.
Like that.
You know. Mm-hmm. So who you trying to impress? What audience are you talking to? Because the
only one that's gonna actually believe that shit.
Right. All because I know if I in here in St. Louis, I talk to some cats, and I'd be like, okay, I go say, hey, I talked to some cats on this side of town. I talked to some cats on this side of town. I ain't gonna call them cats no thugs.
Here's your quote. Go
ahead.
Top gang thugs.
There you go.
I spoke to Chicago's top gang thugs.
Hey,
I talked to the Michael Jordan of gang thugs.
I'm like, hey, John, I know he ain't talking to none of Hoover people.
Oh man,
he ain't talking to the Barksdale people.
That shit he did.
He ain't talking Shorty Bible in there. I know for a fact. I know niggas is out there that I know said, no, we ain't never seen this dude.
These people are hilarious, man. They're hilarious.
Seriously, can you brothers imagine doing any kind of community work and trying to pull the community together, trying to get people to put the guns down, and then you come back and say, yeah, man, I'll talk to some top gang thugs.
That sound like a Chappelle skit, man.
I know.
You, what are you talking about, man?
I'm like, what's their name? He come up with some. She's like, yeah, I talked to Muggsy. No nigga named Muggsy over here.
I talked to Ray and them.
Muggsy, right.
Hey, Rocky.
Guido. Hey, I don't know nobody named Guido, man. I talked to Paco, man. Get out of here, man. Yeah, so he's just one. I'm picking on him, but there are other prominent black evangelicals. Vody Bacham is another one. He's a buck dancer. I'm sorry. I'm ashamed I even bought his book, man.
Wow.
I feel about him right now. He's
these things need to be dropped off at O Block.
Yeah, he
see if they can make it by there.
Yeah, he's on that train with John MacArthur and all them, man. And
mm-hmm.
They don't. One thing that, Brother Chris, one thing that's a blessing in disguise that has come out of Trump's presidency.
What's that?
I meant to mention this earlier. Hey, Brother Reggie's is watching us now. Glad to see you all right, Brother Reg.
Reg, how you doing, brother?
One of the good things that had come out of this, although there's been horrible experience, but evangelicals have exposed themselves for who they really are.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I think to me they were always that way, but for the unlearned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the curtains are.
Yeah, I mean, because they had to really dig. They had to double down to stay in there like they did.
The curtains have been pulled back. Now it's like, oh, this is who you really are.
Yeah.
Damn, them biscuits must be buttery as hell.
And I've been buying I'm talking about the white ones, and I've been buying your.
For the black ones, them biscuits is buttery.
They still in it for the money. I've been CDs and your tapes, and I mean, because we know that your boy Dollar Creflo is his. I mean, Kenneth Copeland is his spiritual daddy. Kenneth is another nut. He's up there laughing, talking about, yeah, we heard that they announced that Joe Biden is the president. And the whole church said,
damn fool, man.
How do you have a first name where it sounds like something happened to you? Like, dog, you've been Creflo. You know what I'm saying?
and a last name like that for a preacher. No.
I know.
Yeah, I'd have changed my last name for
Creflo $1. Can I Creflo $1 off of you?
Pass it.
Right.
Hey, pass it out. I think y'all just call me Doc.
Right.
I know.
you know, yeah, Vody, and it's some other ones, but we got the urban apologists, the Christian apologists. Well, I call them urban apologists. They're black Christians who really call out a lot of this stuff. So I give them their props. They've been around for a while. They've also been calling out people like John MacArthur and Vody Wacom, and Vody he's they're trying to drag me to speak on things. I don't really talk on this stuff, but then he had the nerves to throw Michael Brown under the bus, and then he came back this year and said some crazy stuff about protesters and everything. And I think it was when George Floyd got killed. And he went the route of, why was he out there, kind of thing, like the Candace Owens kind of thing,
Right.
Yeah.
Is Hank Telegraph still on?
Brother Hank, I don't know if he's still on the radio because I haven't been really listening to the radio since I left AT&T, but as much. But
because I wonder if he just said anything about any of this stuff.
Well, to be honest with you, brother Hank Telegraph is not from here. He's from Hungary.
Like somewhere in Europe, yeah.
Yeah. So he took over for Walter Martin. Mm-hmm. You knew that, right? Right.
I haven't heard him in years, but I used to listen to him.
And Walter Martin is the one that started the Christian Research Institute, and then he came in and took over. Well, prior to me, I think it was maybe 2016 or it was 2014 when the whole Michael Brown thing came out. Well, Hank was listening to people like Thomas Sowell. Hey, I want to tell our white brothers and sisters, listen to us. Don't listen to people like Thomas Sowell and what's that other one? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Don't take advice from the dudes when it comes to black community because they have. I'm telling you now. So
you weren't talking about Larry Elder, were you?
Larry Elder, but Thomas Sowell was telling Hank all kind of silly stuff, and so Hank came on the radio and said this, oh man, and all hell broke loose, and people were
really
him and selling them. They ain't listening to him no more and stuff. And so I gave him like an olive branch. I said, hey, look, I understand that you're not from here, and you kind of stepped into it, and Thomas Sowell set you up. I told him that on the air. He let it go on the air. And I said, but I just want to help you out. Don't listen to people like that when it comes to black people. Do your own research. There's a whole lot to this Michael Brown thing that you're not been. Yeah. You only been told one side, and I would strongly encourage you not to even get into this because he does Christian apologetics.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right.
I don't know what. I know he went digital. I don't know if he's still on the air. I don't think he's still on the air here in St. Louis, but he still was calling out those fake preachers, the Copelands and all of them. He was still calling them, Creflo, all of them, they got a whole bunch of new ones. Paula White, she's the silliest one. And then what makes me mad about her is she went down there and stole that black church. And those silly black people sitting up in her church right now, they're just silly. She's sitting up in there prophesying angels coming from Africa to steal the election.
Oh my God.
And you were talking about her earlier, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Do I need to kick the Frankie Smith back again? See, Chicago too. I know y'all know about that real good.
Being a member of that church, man, and sitting up listening to that foolishness, and I'm of the old school. If I believe what Scripture says, the Yah said in Exodus, in Deuteronomy, concerning prophets, if they speaking things that don't come to pass, they speaking things from their own imagination. They're not speaking on my behalf. Do not listen to them. Do not fear them. He used the word fear because back in the Old Testament, prophets didn't come tell you a bunch of ear candy.
Right.
Story.
Then it was terror. They would come.
Yeah. Story.
Right. They would come and say
warners.
Yeah, they would say this is gonna happen. It ain't gonna be good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But back, that was then. But basically, what he's saying is that these people that are speaking on the behalf of God, this stuff ain't coming to pass. Donald Trump has lost this election. Folks up here talking about, oh well, yeah, y'all just he's playing 3-dimensional chess. Y'all just don't know. Watch and see. God, I've heard from the man of God. The man of God said that he's going to be in office and he's going to remain the president and blah 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 blah. Like I said last week, we did prophets and.
My girl said, "What you in there watching?"
I thought I heard somebody say.
See what happened, man. This is what happened, man. When you live in this lockup, man, you can't control nothing.
Tell us DOC, baby. It's the DOC.
But I said all that to say, man, there's going to be a whole lot of reckoning in the church. You know, keep an eye out, Salaam. There's going to be a whole lot of reckoning in the church.
Well, what's bothersome is what should be, and John know this. Like, I grew up right on 61st Street, right between Racine and May. Okay, bear with me for a second. And outside my door, so me and my boy was talking about this. You know, he lives out in DeKalb now, and we were counting like how many churches was our immediate area, probably like within a 2-block radius. I think we ran off like 5 churches.
The storefront churches right down the Racine and all that. I know you're talking
right there on Racine, because it used to be a Pentecostal church that when I was like 2 or 3 years old, I used to go to right on Racine, right by the bus stop at 61st. Then you had on Aberdeen. 7th
District Police Station.
Yeah, the 7th District, right across from the old 7th District Police Station.
7th District, yeah.
Before they moved to 63rd.
Right.
Then you have on 60, if you walk down May Street, right? And get to 60, like May Street, you got that big burgundy church that's right there on the corner.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like 2-3 doors right from that church. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
So go down May Street to 62nd. There used to be a church right on the corner of 62nd, you know, on the northwest corner. Mm-hmm. Then on the southeast corner, there's a church. Then go down towards Aberdeen. There's that big ass church right there on 62nd at Aberdeen. Right. Then go further down on Carpenter. You got a couple of more. Then one before you get to past Morgan and Sangamon, you run into a couple of more before it gets to Halsted Parkway or some shit. You know, so yeah, all these churches around us, but it's been a failing institution for Black people, you know, for generations, frankly. You know, now there's, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there'll be people individually who could get spiritually fed, right? You know, that may get you through a season, get you through a personal conflict, or help you correct something, or do something for self or whatever. But as far as the church, once upon a time, used to be a epicenter for mobilization. It used to be an epicenter for growth. I mean, it had a strong presence during the abolitionist movement. It had a strong presence during the civil rights movement.
You know, you know what changed that and when it changed it, Salaam? Yeah. I was going to point that out, but I'm glad you brought it up. What changed that? What changed that, Chris? Word of faith and prosperity theology.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all changed.
It just put a wrecking ball right to that, and so we don't have any pillars, you know, so where we can erect and elevate our community from, without the community pretty much being for sale. To be frankly honest, because these Black evangelicals that I'm seeing, they're for sale. And I know y'all hear me harp on consistency. Even like if I don't meet it, I expect somebody to tell me about it. But when you're for sale, and when you can be bought at any price, your consistency is going to waver. You know, because it's going to waver based on what the power is going to bid for your allegiance to that power and for your submission. Right. Yeah, so we in trouble.
It's the theology of MC Breed.
Yeah,
that's right.
When there was a fight and a struggle for civil rights, who was there? The Black church. Right. In every step of Black history, the Black church was there.
Also, there was a documentary. I'm sorry, Jay. I'm gonna let you finish. There was a documentary, you probably heard of it. I watched it maybe about 5 or 6 years ago on Netflix. It's called The Spies in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of that?
Mm-hmm. Now, check that out.
The Spies in Mississippi. If you watch that and look at how the evangelicals of that day were used as listening posts for, let's say, the Mississippi Sovereignty Commission, let's say, the government or white nationalist groups. Because think about it, like I used to wonder as a kid, like when they organized the march from Selma to Montgomery, right, or Montgomery to Selma, off on that. That how the hell do they know or get the drop on them to where the Alabama state troopers were posted up waiting on them when before they even got there?
I think they announced that they were going to do it. If I'm not,
They did announce it, but prior to that, they sent out word that please watch. Let me know what y'all think. Watch the document. It's about maybe an hour and a half long or something like that.
yeah.
Watch that document. It detailed like how how some of the deacons in that day like put two and two together as they saw reports, right? And well, okay, Deacon so and so wasn't here yesterday, but yet the Mississippi Sovereignty Commission got that report, and we've all seen the video that it went. I don't know if it went viral or not, but when Dick Gregory showed Reverend Billy Kyles, when he talked about he was waxing poetic about Dr. King.
Yeah, he said
at that Freudian slip where he said, "Then I moved out of the way so they can get a clear shot."
the silence, like you said.
Yeah. And then Dick Gregory paused the video, and then the crowd was like, "I heard it. I heard what he said." And then he said he never thought in his wildest dreams that he would slip up and say that. So it was people close to Dr. King who were men of the cloth who were part of his demise.
Yeah.
It wasn't James Earl Ray. And of course, and
well, we know backstabbers in the church. I mean, backstabbers are everywhere, bro, right?
And make no mistake about it, the U.S. government was plotting that through and through. I mean, it was a very intricate process. If you read that book by William Peppers, the title "Orders to Kill," is detailed in there. And if you look at Dr. Michael Benner, who basically he's a world-renowned forensic guy. Okay, he did JFK's autopsy. They used his testimony in the Warren Commission when they somehow expanded like 15 years to try to figure out who shot JFK. He did MLK because he was a central. Dr. Michael Benner was a central figure in them getting the King family getting the settlement against the U.S. government. He did Mike Brown's autopsy, and they also did George Floyd's.
Yeah, I know you talking about
just recently. So he's very well renowned, and it's just when you look at like the layers and the moving parts, it's something.
Yeah,
it's something.
Well, I was just saying that the black church has been a part of that struggle from coming out of slavery, before slavery, slavery, Jim Crow, civil rights movement. But then, like I said, around late 70s, early in the 80s, that's when it started changing, and you start getting into prosperity gospel and all this other stuff, and it changed, and it took that dynamic. The focus came off of fighting for social justice and fighting for civil rights to what's in it for me.
Right, but then in the late 70s and 80s, see, black people went from going to work for Mr. Ben or going to work for contracting and things like that in the hood. Now, by the 70s, we can go downtown now.
Right.
Now we can move on up and go to the Sears Tower. We can move on up and work at the Palmer House, Merchandise Mall. We start moving on up at downtown, and that's pretty much a slow eradication, of the economic infrastructure of the black community.
Unfortunately, that's the shall I say, side effect. I mean, I think we discussed this before. The civil rights leaders, Dr. King themselves, they didn't
foresee that.
They weren't pushing for us to abandon our own community. They were pushing for us to have the opportunity to work for whoever we wanted to work for, make the same money, to take care of our family, buy a house, get a loan. You know what I'm saying? Whether you get on this side of town or you get a loan on that side of town. It shouldn't matter. You should be able to get a loan. Well, some, we know some of our people think white ice is hot, is cooler, so they
It's
just
colder. Yep.
they just go run and go, and they don't keep those resources here. And saying, okay, now I can get this loan, but I'm gonna keep this loan here.
Right.
That's what should have happened.
And see, and as much as this man that's over my right shoulder had talked about doing for self
Yeah.
and for being a strong player in economics in your local area and also on the international trade, global trade. I mean, he started that, that kind of consciousness. But even he did business with white folks.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, he had to. I mean, that shiny Mas Mariam, the National House number 2 on 73rd and Stony Island. Okay, that was white owned. That wasn't always owned by the Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
You see,
That's
but they bought it and they paid for it. You see,
that's called business, brother. I mean,
that's business. That's what I said earlier. Like we can't, like we got to put aside like whether or not we like the motherfucker across the negotiation table from us. You see, mutual interest, transact, keep it moving.
I'm gonna tell you, we heard this before, but money is literally green, man. And I'm saying this because anybody that would tell you they're only gonna, when I say you're gonna open up a business and you're only gonna cater to black people, well, your business is not gonna grow. If you only
That's true.
You only go to one specific demographic. Now, if you're pushing a product that that only black people pretty much like, then that's different.
That's different, right?
But for the most part, you want customers to buy your product. You want a successful business. You want your business to grow. You want to be able to provide jobs. You can't just be cornered to one specific demographic. If you want
wherever they may be. I mean,
money is money. Commerce is commerce. What I'm trying to say is when I'm talking business, when I'm thinking business, I'm thinking about how to grow as a business. I'm thinking about how to expand, how to keep that money flowing in. All those things are important to a business. And no, I don't think any successful business owner has sat down and said, "Well, I don't want their money."
No, as long as you keep the doors on open and the lights on, somebody will walk in. I mean, it tripped me out. But it shouldn't be too far less conceivable. Like when I heard DJ Vlad, talk about how he employs the FOI to do security as some of his functions. But that's business.
That's business. I mean, that's security too, right?
Yep, security. Yep.
You want good security, you go to some of the best. It is what
exactly, and them brothers gotta be damned if they don't do the best.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, you feel safer there than you do in your own damn house.
You remind me of Professor. Listening to Professor Griff, so I catch some of his. He got a YouTube channel. Get some of his dialogue and stuff. He
That's a strong brother there.
Yeah, man. He I don't agree with him on everything, but I do agree with him on a lot of stuff. And he be eating people that come at him, man.
Lord Jamar is another one. Shout out Lord Jamar, brand Nubian forever.
Yeah. But what was that I was getting ready to say here? I think I dropped. Oh, you call it the Spies of Mississippi. I'm gonna check that out.
Yep.
And I think that on the long term, man, and I don't know what's going to be, because from a spiritual aspect, we, the church, I'm speaking as a Christian, we are fractured, man, here in the West anyway, because number one, our focus is off. We are into materialism and everybody trying to get, all these things and rich and think God wants everybody to have all these things. And, then we got brothers and sisters across the world in different cultures and many of them are oppressed and they're suffering. And they're like, you guys are over there fighting over cars and houses and stuff. And we're over here trying to keep from getting executed because of our faith.
Yeah.
What kind of madness is that? We over here we call evangelicals call persecution not being able to go into schools and teach and hold Bible sermons and stuff. I'm like, man, y'all crazy. That's not persecution.
True story.
Yeah, that's not
Very
persecution
true.
out here, man. Persecution is when someone says, if you don't denounce your religion, I'm going to blow your head off. Now,
Yep.
that's persecution.
Yeah, and
Right.
your family.
Yeah, and I'm going to kill your family. And that's
Yep.
persecution.
Yep.
But, no. It looks like Brother John had to drop off her, or either his connection got bad, one or other. But what did I do with that? Man. I'll be writing stuff down, man, and I lose it because I'll be writing so much stuff down. So we did cover the ACA as well, and I'm glad he brought that up because John brought
Yeah.
it.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. So we need to be vigilant about what's going on right now. Like that, the hangover of
Georgia.
a high L that was handed out last week. We'd be watching like all the other pieces, like dominoes, like fall into place.
No, we got the runoff in Georgia coming. So
Yep.
any Georgians listening, and we need to put the message out to everybody we know in Georgia, man. Hey, you guys need to get this runoff together because if those 2 Senate seats can turn blue in Georgia, boom, game on.
Game on.
Game on. Now we ain't got to worry about what Mitch McConnell thinks. We can
Right.
tell him to go take a hike. You know what I'm saying? And all those 300-something bills that's sitting on his desk that he refused to let
He won't even let through. It's like the fucking legislative Panama Canal.
Right.
He ain't letting shit pass through.
He called himself.
Salaam, you got all the sayings, man. I swear. They just be coming out of nowhere like
He probably calls himself
off the dome.
Yeah, he probably calls himself the Grim Reaper because the bills go down high. And so anything good for most of the people, he's going to definitely try to block that.
Yeah.
He's got to be getting out of the way, so we got to push it. So looking at this, we got Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I saw the Reverend talking yesterday on CNN.
And the funny thing is, again, when we're talking about career politicians, career politicians or career servants, they get in there, they do their job. It don't matter if they're Republican or Democrat, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Republicans are upset because the secretary they try to ether the Secretary of State in Georgia. He's a Republican, and told him to quit to so they can put a lackey in there who can rig the election. Mm-hmm. He basically told him to go, where they can go, right?
Kick rocks.
Yep.
He basically told him where to go. But the point of the matter is that he's doing his job. And he's like, no, we're going to count all the votes. And then if it's close, our election requires us to recount them. We're going to recount them. And I don't see how that's going to change anything, but we will recount them anyway, because that's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. After that, we're going to certify the winner, no matter who likes it.
Right.
And they want him out of the way because they want to steal the election for these 2 Senate seats.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what it is.
Matter of fact, he needs to watch anything he drinks or eats for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing like Putin did, old boy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying
a couple times.
We either had this motherfucker like Socrates when he was drinking like the painting when he was drinking the poison. He was out there like this.
I'm saying all that to say that this Georgia runoff in early January, is going to be very important, and we got a good fight off our hands with the Biden and with the top of the ticket, but Georgia's not over. If we want the Senate, man, we got to help these people get their fight. So we got folk from all over the place said they're going to move to Georgia. I was cracking up. Roland said he's going to move to Georgia. What's your boy that ran for president, the Asian guy?
You talking about Yang?
Yang said
Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
They say they all going to flock down to Georgia, man, for the next month. They getting ready to hit it hard. And I'm like, good, because that's the fight that we got to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. I got 2 sons in Georgia, so You're
going to be on their heads, I know.
I'll be on their heads, no doubt about it.
Oh, man, Dad, you want me to vote? Yep.
Yeah. Oh, no, they voted the last time. I'm just saying, but they going to know that this ain't it, so.
I think it's only fitting.
Oh,
I think it's only fitting.
is that Sam Cooke?
Georgia.
That's Ray.
Georgia.
It's on everybody's mind.
Hey,
It's
Jay.
only fitting.
Hey, Georgia's on all our minds, and all
Yeah.
listening. Y'all got family, friends in Georgia. Tell them they got to
Hey, Jay.
yeah,
I'm gonna let y'all finish up, man. My wife got the dinner ready, so.
that's all right.
Yeah.
We shut it
Well,
down.
like I said, let's wrap it up now, so we ain't trying to get this brother divorced now.
Yeah, anyway, I
Or me.
just wanted to end it with that we want to keep Georgia on our mind. We want to push Georgia. We want to keep this energy going, man. And
Hmm.
the Orange Man is defeated. Good. That's a big step, but we got to get Georgia. We want to get some things done on the top of the ticket. Things done in Congress.
I'm glad you said that, Jay. So that's gonna be my focus. So I'm glad you said that. Thank you.
That's
Continue.
right. We got some books to look into, and y'all got the documentary to check out.
Yep. I've been trying to see there's some spots that you can find it. You just have to pay for it, but like $3.99 or something, ain't a big deal. So I saw
Okay.
I can get it on.
Yeah.
I can get it on Amazon Prime. So no,
Okay.
it's like $3.99. No worries.
And continue
Word
to
up.
encourage people to engage. Got to be engaged in the state and local politicians.
Politics. Yep.
Yeah, got to be. So, with that being said, like I said, we had a couple brothers who couldn't join us today. Get us on with us next time, hopefully, and we'll see y'all.
See you on the other side.
All right, take it easy, brother.
One love.
One love, brother.
All right, peace out.
Peace out.